Hey.
Hi. Hello. And welcome to the Partner Panel. Okay, we're good. Bro, I'm telling you, I hate that shit. The entire application freezes as soon as I unmute us, and I'm like, I have no idea if we can talk right now. I think we're okay.
But you mimic the
freezer, yeah.
You freeze too. You're like, wait.
Hey man, what can I tell you? Trying to be accurate. Welcome. I guess you could say, right?
Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Odo already in here. Let's go.
Welcome everybody to this week's episode of the Fault Partner Panel. I totally just realized one of my computers is not hooked up, so I'm gonna do that while we talk here. Right. But yo, fucking episode 40, man. You know what's crazy? We not even the episode number, right? We actually started doing these about a year ago.
Yeah.
Like actually a year ago. A year ago, they started as like, hey, we're going to start giving you guys bi-weekly news bi-weekly updates, bi-weekly blogs, and then bi-weekly updates. So we literally had one thing each week.
Yep.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of miss that, man. I can definitely say that I was of the group that was 100% spoiled by that right there. Oh, for sure.
For sure. I agree with that.
All right. But we do have, as usual, an amazing cast. At this point, can we say the official cast? Yeah, I'm going to say it. The official cast at this point, right?
This is
now,
the official cast.
We do have... Yeah, at this point, right? We do have Mangoose, and then we have Bearded and myself. Let's go in that specific order. Introduce yourselves while I'm adjusting some wires and shit here, please.
What's up, everybody? I'm the Mangoose. You are awesome, and yeah, I don't think I'm officially a partner. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but yeah, whatever. Don't really matter. Who cares?
Officially.
Let's talk about some fault. Let's talk about some patch notes this week.
Mangoose, in my eyes, you're a fault partner. You'll be there. All right, you're back. All right, it just hasn't happened officially, and I mean by officially, you just haven't gotten the tag in Gen Chat or whatever. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong. I'm not the guy that runs with that stuff. Welcome everybody. I am the Bearded Wolverine, your Michigan wonder, fault partner, and love the ability to. Can't wait to get into this one.
Dope, my bad. I know, I just got here. I'm sorry. I didn't realize as I stepped away, another video started playing. I'm like, oops. Everything's hooked up. But what's up, guys? I am WinduTheMace, aka Windu. We have been keeping up with. Honestly, all of us have been keeping up with all the projects, right? But as far as this specific episode, we have been keeping up. We've been keeping a very close eye on Fault, let's say. Because we've been here every step of the way, giving constructive criticism, sometimes just straight criticizing. We can't help it sometimes, but we try to make it constructive, right? And we'll continue to try to make it constructive.
I would still even say it was constructive because, even though we may have went harder into it than what we needed to, but everything that we said was for a reason. We weren't just bashing on them. It was literally for a reason that we were going into whatever we were going into at that time. So it was still constructive. It probably didn't need to be drawn out as much as we draw it out sometimes.
Yeah, some fluff might have been needed at times for sure. In retrospect, hindsight 2020. But yeah, man, we just brought up the fact that it's crazy when you would know background. Yeah, we're new house, new me, right?
No, that's an actual background. That literally is something real behind him. It's not the galaxy.
As far as you're concerned. But now, man, I'll tell you what. 2022, I honestly never thought that we would still be making videos about Fault pre-early access 2022. I thought 2022 Fault would have already been early access, low-key. I'm kind of I don't know how to feel about it. How do you guys feel about the fact that
Do you
Fault.
want to change the name of the term of what you're using it? Because are we not in early access?
Oh, I'm sorry. Free to play. Yeah, full release. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Like,
So I didn't think. Yeah. Let me rephrase that. I didn't think that Fault would still be at this stage and not fully released. You feel me? Being early access already for a year and a half and such. Like,
right.
I understand why they've chosen not to. Just necessary steps, like getting the AI in place and stuff like that. Like, I get it because there technically is only one release of a game, right? Like, there's only one major push, and then from there you have periodical moments with spikes and such. So I understand it, but I'm kind of torn, man. Like, yo, it's 2022. We talked about it last week. Mangus and I have been making videos for 3-4 years about Fault at this point. Like, about two to three. Sorry.
Yeah.
But still,
Right
now, you bearded. Let me ask you this, because you brought up the fact that Mangus technically doesn't have the partner tag yet, right? Maybe I don't know. Maybe Strange Matters is waiting till the next partner wave or something. Watch him be like, nah, bitch, you ain't getting it.
I'd be cool with that. I don't really care.
Hey man, we root for you. But
yeah.
You being arguably the last person in here to become a partner, right? Because technically, Goose was in there before I was, right? And then I came, and then you joined in.
Right.
How do you feel as a partner looking at where Fault is right now in about the year or so that you've been a partner? Like, from that point forward.
That's a tough question.
Sorry if I hit you with a deep question off rip, bro.
That's a tough one. I'm happy to see how far they've come in that year. By saying that, by the things that they've overcame within that year. But I do think that there's issues that still are at bay that need to be taken care of. Right now, like we put out 13. Once we put out 13 was hyped up to be this big patch, and we're supposed to get a bunch of increase in player base. And there was a spike. I wouldn't call it a big spike, but there was a spike in player base, and that plummeted instantly, right back down to what we were normally having with. And then 14 was supposed to be this big spike, and then plus marketing, and there was a spike. And it's not plummeting instantly, but you can definitely tell that the player base is dwindling away. And I don't know if it's due to marketing. I don't know if it's due to, issues in gameplay. I don't know if it's the bugs that are pushed, but there's stuff going on that the player base is not sticking around, and something needs to happen to fix that. So I'm happy, but the player base overall is not happy with what's going on with this year, and something needs to change to fix that.
Just to piggyback off of what you just said there towards the end, I think one of the bigger problems for any indie company specifically to go against is relevancy, right? Because you can have an amazing product. You can have something that people play it, they're thoroughly impressed by it. But you got to remember, like, being impressed by something only lasts so long. Eventually something will become normal, right?
Right.
And then from there, I'll be real with you, the majority of gamers nowadays, they get the brand new game that comes out. They binge play that for a month, you feel me? Then the next month a new game comes out, then they're on that. The God of War, it probably came out finally on PS5. A bunch of people are playing that. You get me? So the bigger struggle I think Strange Matter has is relevancy, and how to do events, how to do skins, content, just stuff to consistently keep people looking towards that direction. Because if not much has changed in a month or two, bro, there's a million. There's honestly hundreds of games that get released every month. Brand new games that get released every month, and it's a field that is getting more saturated by the day. Now, Mangus, how do you think Strange Matters can stay more relevant? No, I dropped my cheese. Fuck. Go ahead.
No, I don't think they need to be in a rush to Bankai this shit. They need to wait a little bit. I think it's once bitten, twice shy. Like their original early access launch failed miserably, and they don't want a repeat of that. They get one shot at a comeback, and they need to make it a good shot. I think that's why we're not seeing a whole lot out of them, and I think that's why they don't really care as much right now. Once the game is fully released and it needs to be free to play, then and they said it would be free to play, and it needs to be free to play. They can keep people's interest. They have a backlog of Paragon Heroes assets that were given to them for free that should be fairly easy to implement into the game. And implementing a new hero, at least, once, twice, once a month, maybe once every 2 months, something like that. That'll keep things fresh and interesting enough, I think.
Yeah.
To keep people involved. To keep
you said playing. Bankai? Is that what you said?
Full release, yeah. Watch some Bleach.
He said, watch some Bleach. Oh, hey, man, I appreciate that Bankai reference.
Bankai, I was like really confused. I was like, what?
Yeah, it means full release.
Okay. I'm going to use that in the bedroom. Anyways.
What? This man said, Bankai. That get me out.
My sword grows like fucking 3 times.
Oh.
Stop buying your swords at Sam's Club.
I'm not saying that they need to speed up for release. They just need to do something. Whether it be if it's being more being faster with the hero releases, with the epic assets they already have. There's something just needs to be done, because we are feeling this as your queue times. You can feel it in your queue times, like even in prime time. NA, you can see your queue times are getting more affected by it. Like you can just tell, or you can tell because you can see people who are like smurfing for this situation just so they can actually queue up, because they're not able to get, the player base isn't big enough for them to get a queue, because their original accounts are too high or whatever, like it's being affected all over, and just something needs to happen to kind of get us out of this rut that we're in. They made this rut, pretty much from patch 12, and patch 13 and patch 14 actually weren't enough to get them out. Like we're still in it. We're the tires are spinning. We're not completely stuck, but we need to do something else to get out of there.
I'm kind of curious too, because their numbers have been rising for the past 3 months, not like a huge amount or anything, but the average number of players for Fault has risen over the past 3 months. But I've also seen the amount of Smurfs rise. So I kind of wonder if the numbers are rising or if people are just making more Smurfs and then playing on both accounts. You know what I mean? Because that would count towards the numbers. It'd be interesting to see which one it is. So I've seen a lot of fresh faces too. So
I saw several people in Twitch chat, specifically when the free weekend was going on. People on Twitch chat just straight openly admitting, hey, I'm going to go create a couple new Smurfs just to play against the new people. Now, I don't know whether that had negative effect. I don't know whether, it was good for the community because there was just more matches going on or whatever. I guess it just really depends on toxicity, experience, whatnot, and that's independent, right? But I mean, at least when a Smurf gets created, at least it's still money for Strange Matters, The only negative side
is not good for the community at all. Like I don't see that as a question. People making Smurfs specifically to play against new players during a free weekend can never be good for the community. You know what I mean?
It's fucked, man, because it's a weird thing to say that the people that love this game the most are the ones that might be affecting the game the most negatively. Yeah. Because they want to play it more often. So they're like, hey, we play it all the time, so we've gotten better. But we've gotten too good to the point where now we don't get games. I need to get a Smurf just to play the game that I want to play. But now I'm affecting everybody else's day because they're better,
So I guess, I don't know. I'm not good enough to make a Smurf in that regard of what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. So I play against them anyways. But even when I'm playing against them, when I know and Mangoose can attest this because Goose teams up with me a lot. When we know that we're going to get somebody that's not new, we don't sweat. We literally just go. Like there's times like what I would normally Murdock. All right, this is normally where I'm going to hit you with my Q. I'm going to fucking melt the shit out of you. No, I maybe don't use my Q as often. All right, and then but we also use points to like, okay, look, this person's they're overextended like crazy. All right, so it's a teaching point. Let me go. All right, bam, bam, bam. All right, now you're dead. You should know. Don't go that far ahead. You know, it's like you kind of use that stuff, but you don't you're not there sweating on them. You know, you could tell when you're playing against somebody that's new and doesn't know what they're doing. You know, like let them play the game.
So I wanna read something from chat real quick that I noticed that Stunt, shout out to Stunt. He just wrote, so he said, I honestly wanted to answer Windu's question. I think Fault should wait a bit longer. The entire Parazombie platform has shifted in the last year. Even though this is a Fault panel, you can't help to compare. That happens. The last year alone showed so much in the sense that it doesn't matter if you're first or last, you can blow up to a new level at any point in time. Overprime, Predecessor, and Ethereal are all great testaments of that.
Yeah, we were talking about this before we actually started the partner panel. There's been a paradigm shift in that Overprime used to be the meme. It used to be the game that the community shat upon. It was like, well, at least this isn't as bad as Overprime. You know, nobody took them serious. Now look at them. Like everybody's taking Overprime super serious. They're not taking Fault serious at all. Fault has become the meme. But that's good and bad. It's bad, of course, that they're the meme. But it's also good in the comparison that we saw that Overprime was able to dig themselves out of that hole, which means Fault can still dig themselves out of that hole.
True.
Yep.
Now, when I feel what you say, whenever, like, because I've heard a lot of people make comments about Fault and Strange Matters and stuff. Like, I've heard people almost dismiss Fault in a way whenever it gets brought up on a repeating basis. Now, why do you think that is, or why do you think people are like, at least some people are considering Fault like a meme and such? What do you think has led to that?
It was that initial release.
Yeah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
God.
I think there's a huge group of people that saw that happen and haven't even given it a second chance.
And then when they did give it a second chance was that free weekend where it was unoptimized, and then they were just like, oh, it's still shit, and left.
Now, I can't wait for another free weekend to happen. But I'll be real, I actually didn't think that at all. I thought that people might have gotten that inclination not from the original release, but from it came after. Like when Heroes started getting added and they were buggy, but things were still getting fixed, right? And then from there, it was two more heroes. And then it got to the point where in December, we got the last hero technically on January 1st of the new year. That was Morgesh. And then from there was just silence for a month or so, basically. And then they started doing the bi-weekly updates, bi-weekly blogs and stuff. But I noticed that at that point, unless you were like a hardcore Fault follower, the average person just stopped getting Fault news. That's one of the main reasons why we even made these videos, why we're all the way up to episode 40, right? Because we wanted to inform people about things that were just going right over their head, like stuff that was actually getting done, changes that were being made, but because they weren't in Discord or because they weren't on the website, it was just like, well, I have no fucking idea, right? But I think the same reason that made us start these videos and get this trend going and everything is the same reason why Fault has been affected as far as people's confidence. Am I weird for thinking that?
You're not wrong. I think it's the conglomerate of all of it. Actually, I think it's that bad start that they had, tied into the the HUD being announced that's supposed to be 2 weeks after release, early access opening, right? And then it didn't. How long after was that? It wasn't 2 weeks. It was forever ago, forever after that we finally got the HUD, so that just doesn't look good, and then the way they didn't handle that in the beginning, with the HUD, we were wondering what's going on with the HUD, and it was just kind of like, oh, it's being worked on. Let us know what they finally tell us. And it's like, well, say that in the beginning, stuff like that, this is, and, that tied into what, that just kind of, everything just kind of, this ball just keeps getting bigger. It's a snowball going downhill. It's picking things up. All right. First, it was the initial release, how it happened. Then it was the HUD. And then here we go. And now it's the silence, after Morgash. And it just kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it gets to the point where other people who can't see through it, they just kind of like, yep, no, fault's a shit show, and they want nothing to do with it. And they, I had a discussion with somebody in a completely different Discord, and I showed it to you guys. They were trying to say that there was no balance being done, with the last patch 14.3. I'm like, well, there was. Now, I'm not saying that it was a lot of balance, but you going into another Discord saying that there's no balance being done is now you're just spreading lies. Like, you're making it look like to other people that they're not doing any balance, and that's not true. They are. Now, was it as much as everybody wants? 100% no. I agree. I agree there should have been more at that last balance patch, but there wasn't. We had two aspects balanced. It is what it is. I don't have to tell you. I can't, but I'm not going into their Discord saying, hey, they're not doing any balancing, because they did.
Yeah,
I really don't
go ahead,
think anything they've done since release has really mattered that much. If you look at the numbers, their release, their peak players was 29,050. The next month, it was down to 1,099. That was a 59% decrease in players. The next month after that, September, 723 was their peak players. They lost so many people. So many people tried the game on early release and then never played it again.
Peak is at one time, just to make sure, right?
And those people from then on have talked shit about Fault, which is it's like a boulder rolling downhill.
Mouth, yeah.
It's just gaining more and more people to where people don't even think about trying Fault. They've seen so many other people talk negatively about Fault that they just assume that Fault's bad. And it doesn't matter how much we say, oh, it's improved, especially when we tell people it's improved so much, give it a try. And then they have the free weekend and people are getting fucking 20 FPS or something that's dropping down to 2. And that sort of thing hurts them so bad, more than people realize. But it's that initial launch not going well is what started them on this downward spiral where people are just kind of ganging up on Fault a little unfairly, to be honest, because the game really is in a good state. But just because it isn't fair doesn't mean it's true. I think if you look, Overprime had their trailer on IGN. They released their trailer, cinematic trailer on IGN. That trailer has 94K views right now. If you look through the comments on that trailer, nobody ever mentions Fault unless they're bashing it. They'll say stuff about Overprime and Predecessor, Overprime, Predecessor, Overprime, Predecessor. And then somebody will say some shit about Fault, and then other people will back them up. Or if somebody says the least amount good about Fault in those comments, or what about Fault, there's immediately a bunch of people that probably have never even played the game talking a bunch of shit about Fault. That's not good. That's not a good sign,
right,
for their future. However, like I said, they can still dig themselves out. What's going on right now doesn't really matter that much. When they go full release, that's what's going to matter. If the game is good on full release and they actually market it and advertise it, they'll be fine. Not much they could do right now because the community's against them, but just wait till that shift.
I'll be real. I think just to bring up Overprime real quick as a comparison, I think Overprime is a great example of how Fault can use organic marketing, not paid marketing, because there is a difference, right? They can easily use organic marketing and content to actually change perception. For example, this video that I've been playing here on the stream / video, right?
Right.
That is a conglomerate of, I want to say, every hero release trailer that they've done.
Not everyone. There's the Richter and Morgesh are not in there.
Okay. I mean, maybe because it was Christmas, I'm assuming, right? And those were a little bit different theme. They would kind of clash.
Right. Yeah.
Like with different map and such. At least these, you can kind of still make the assumption that it's the same map, right? But like even stuff like this, like it's mad cool. We've seen them do it in the past. We've seen them contract companies to make dope trailers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would love to see them, before they do paid marketing, I would love to see them have more success in their organic social media growth. Does that make sense? Because I've seen hundreds of companies, hell, even buddies with their businesses and stuff, content creators that they're like, hey, if I simply pay $1,000 to promote my post, that'll lead me to success. And it's not that fucking easy. Like, you're going to get 1 million impressions in like 3 clicks if you don't actually know what you're doing, right? And of course, they're hiring a marketing manager. So hopefully that's going to get a little bit ironed out as it goes along. But
do you think that them hiring the marketing manager, sorry to interrupt you, but do you think them hiring this marketing manager is what is delaying the marketing that they said is going to happen with 14?
I would think so, yeah.
I mean, we do have a marketing team as of right now. It's not just a marketing manager, like, so I mean, they could still be doing something, I would say, but like, you think they're holding off until they get the marketing manager?
Yeah, I thought that was just understood. Like, I thought that was just a commonly known thing.
Yeah, I didn't think.
I saw them advertising that they were looking for a marketing manager. I was like, oh, okay, that's why they're.
So then, would you not want to advertise looking for a marketing manager before you tell everybody, your whole community, that you're going to do marketing once 14 drops?
Maybe they didn't know at the time. Maybe that was a marketing blunder, and one of the reasons they need a manager now.
Because when we had that conversation with Huddy a few weeks back, like he very thoroughly explained, like it's much more complicated than just posting. Like, you gotta have like this storyboard laid out. Like, hey, we're gonna start with these posts. That is gonna lead into this. This is gonna lead into this part in quarter 2. And then you literally gotta have the entire year planned out. You gotta have the content ready and such ahead of time. And it's a complex thing. Like, I don't know the extent of the experience of the current marketing team, right? So it'd be unfair for us to judge whether they could do it or not, but
yeah,
they could still do social media posts, which is like just simple marketing, right? Like, just focus on growing their brand, focus on growing their social media presence. Like, even if it's just posting pictures about your game. Like, let's be real. Besides this patch notes that we're actually going to go over that just got released, like 2 hours ago, right?
Yeah.
Besides this, what else have you guys seen from Strange Matter in the past week?
Nothing.
And if you're not following the game like hardcore, if you're either on the fence or if you're on the other side of the fence, do you really think patch notes are going to be what's going to draw me in this week?
Right. No, and I mean, but so that's what I'm saying. Like, even if it is social media, like, I'm not saying in the regards of, hey, just posting a picture of the next hero tease, like, it's a competition. So you can, if somebody else is already doing it, you can still do it yourself. So the Overprime and how they're doing their whole wish list event, and going, having them post it on YouTube and hashtag Overprime or whatever, like, you can do stuff like that. Like, have little competitions, like here you go, like, take this and make a video out of it, and make YouTube shorts and you make other people be your advertisement until then. Like, that's like other people posting, making, you get somebody just making a random YouTube short, that's getting, because right now, them posting a YouTube short, the only people that are really going to see it are the people that are following them. But now if they get 80 people in their community to make a YouTube short, now it's going to be all those people, everybody that's following them 80 people, it's just this huge, big spider web, let them, hand it out to us and let the community run with it. You know, I don't see why it's not anything like that. I don't know how hard of, I don't know of a storyboard that you got to build up for that or whatever, how hard it's got to be, but like, I don't think it could be too hard to do something like that.
You know what I think would be arguably the easiest form of like, hey, this is our one weekly post. You literally could go on Twitch, go to the fall category, go to the clips tab up top. It'll show you every single clip that has been made on Twitch under the category fall. Filter in the last 7 days. Just look at like the top 7. Grab the best one that you like. Post it once a week. You can integrate a Twitch link onto Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever. And easily just have that embed below. And now the video shows up. And they click to watch the video. That view goes to the creator on Twitch. And it adds to their views of that clip. And it's literally just simple community engagement that has nothing to do with teasing. It has nothing to do with adding stuff. And the reason why I actually brought it up, shout out to Death Hideo in the chat, because we've talked about this in the past, but he mentioned it in the chat, and it's a super simplistic idea that would generate community engagement, would show off their game on a consistent basis, and would actually just kind of promote organic engagement, you know?
Right.
Like they could easily do that and then see like for example, if you're, I don't know the exact number they have like on throughout their social medias, right? But let's say like on Twitter, if they have 2,000 Twitter followers, right? And they share that and they only get like 3 likes, I think then that gives them a lot of red flags that they need to then look at. You get me?
Right.
It's just a lot of things that they could be doing without officially starting marketing. Just simple things like that, you know? Now,
I think they just need to maintain for now until they go full release, and then they hit the marketing hard. Like little things like that, I think would be good. But like as far as their actual marketing from Strange Matter, they probably don't need to really worry about it too much until they go full release.
What would you guys say about the AI system? Right, the AI system. It just needs to be artificial. Take the eye out of it, because there really isn't intelligence there with this system. Besides Murdock, his intelligence is insane. He's able to get all those types. Anyways, it's good. It's a good for new people to go in there and learn the basics of the game. It's good, but I think they need to add the ability to go in there and change your opposing team, because just because you're playing as a Twin Blast, you're going to know how to go up against a Murdock and a Muriel. You're not going to know how to go up against a Sparrow and a FaZe. So when you do actually go play PvP, you're just going to get your ass handed to you, because you're going to play against somebody like a completely different play set of now what's going on. So if you're able to go in and change, like, okay, hey, I'm going to play solo lane. I don't need to play a Greystone every time. I need to learn how to play against a Morgesh in off lane, because that's a hot ticket item. You know, like how do I compete against that? So I want to put Morgesh over here in off lane. I'm going to put this here and there, so that I go in here, I can focus learning how to play against that heroes and that ability and those abilities being used against me.
I think the problem there would be just workload. Because, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows, but I'm pretty sure all those AI have to be like programmed individually. Like, you know, Murdock Leap, Murdock Snipe, Greystone Leap, etc. And I don't think it would be as simple as, hey, put this character and another character's just playing on its own, right? I think they still need to like have those set actions, like, hey, if Greystone gets this low, leap away and retreat. You know what I'm saying? Like all that has to be programmed in there, I'm pretty sure. I mean, it'd be cool.
That makes sense, because I picked Murdock jungle one time and it made Chimera and Muriel be the dual lane.
Yeah.
So it literally just took the jungle and put him in the carry role. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. What's going on there?
Yeah, I think that's literally just
role, and so it's
just filling the
those
spot.
5 characters are the only ones. The only way to get a new character in is for you to play that character, and then they're going to fill the role with whatever they know as. So that's probably, so you're probably right with that. But I'm not saying like that needs to happen now. I would like it to happen soon. I think that's a quality of life thing that needs to happen. So really, as we're talking, and as 14.2 and 14.3 and 14.4 and 14.5 are coming out, that's something that whoever it is that works in AI could be working on that. Like, hey, all right, I now have Bellica is ready to go in game. I have this ready, so then you can start integrating more heroes into the AI system.
So somebody in chat's mentioning, what about adding other game modes like an AI, like an ARAM 1v1? Now I know
what community as it is.
I was about to say, I know what they probably would say. They probably say they don't want to split the player base. They want to keep everybody playing on one single queue, right?
Right.
Which actually, it's kind of funny because you got NA players playing on EU for most of the day. And then you have EU players that switch over to NA during a certain time frame too. So that's it'd be cool to see, but I don't think they have the player base to sustain it. It'd be cool to see like if they do like early release and they add an ARAM mode for it, like if they know they have like a good push for it and good player base and whatnot, or like maybe like a month after early release, if they have really, really good numbers, they're like, hey, we're giving you guys this full release. Full release. I'm sorry, full release.
I gotta tell you this. It's like you've never played this game before.
Next thing you know, they're going to do an early full release.
Hey, man.
This is our actual full release. This is an early full release we're doing just for Windu, and then we're going to do a full release.
Now, since y'all are shit on me, let me just change the subject. How do y'all feel about a refer system? Like, get your buddy to join with your code. Maybe like, like a percentage of what they spend, you get to your account as well, just as a referral.
I don't know about that.
I mean, it doesn't have to be as extensive as that, but maybe you could get like set rewards, maybe like a tier, for example. Like you refer somebody, if they get to level 5, you get this reward. If they get to level 10, you get this reward based off of levels. Like some of them have it that way too.
I think it's a good idea, but they need to wait until they got everything straightened out. Like I said, they can't be doing big promotional stuff like free weekends and stuff until they got the game in a state where people will stay. Like when they did the free weekend, it was unoptimized, so people didn't stay. You can't do a refer a friend until you got things running and nice and smooth. Well, we haven't talked about the new patch yet, but they're adding in easy anti-cheat. That's pretty well known for causing login issues and various issues that will need to be addressed. So I don't think like doing a free weekend just after they add easy anti-cheat, that wouldn't be a great idea. Doing like referral, like a refer a friend program right after they add something huge like that, probably not a good idea. They need to wait until it's ironed out. That they need to learn from their mistakes. They made a big mistake with the early access where the game just wasn't in a good state. The internet going down was not their fault, but it happened.
I see what you did there.
God, I didn't mean to. God damn it. And then the free to play weekend after 14, where they didn't have the game optimized yet, they could have just waited. What was it, like another 2 weeks before they had optimization patch? Like, why couldn't they have waited a little bit to do that free weekend when the game was like in a really good state? I think they should wait to do any of this stuff until they're sure the game is in a really good state.
No, I agree. I said right from the get-go, when we found out the free weekend was when it was, I agreed that it wasn't a good idea to do that unless the optimization was fixed before the free weekend, and then it ended up not being fixed for the free weekend. So I wasn't too happy about the timing of it either. And now would be the good time. After 14.3 would have been that time. to do that free weekend, because it would have been a lot better, more stable. There are still a few people who are having issues, and there's people who are getting issues that didn't have them before, but that's the numbers are a lot smaller than what they were.
So I want to ask you guys something before we get into these patch notes. Now, we keep mentioning that maybe the reason why players didn't stay from the free-to-play weekend was optimization. Let's try to be even a little bit more constructive. Like, let's say optimization is the number one cause. What do you guys think are cause number 2 and cause number 3?
I think cause number 2 would be the community itself being toxic. That was the I'm just going mainly by from my comments in YouTube and from people talking to me via Discord and stuff. The main thing was the optimization, but the second most complained about thing would definitely be the community itself, people being extremely toxic, and that's what put people off.
Yeah. No,
So
that would definitely be number 2 for sure.
And how would they fix number 2? Before we get to the third one, how would they fix number 2?
There's no great way to do it.
No, you go play any MOBA, you're going to get that toxicity. So it literally, it's everywhere. It sucks. I hate that, because I've always hated that whole that mindset. Oh, this is what it is. You're going to have it. Well, we don't have. If we know that it's an issue, we don't have to be that way. But there's really, we're not big enough to fix anything, so it has to come from somewhere else.
Do you guys think implementing things like banning curse words even helps?
No, who gives a fuck? I think people just need to learn how to mute others and just not care. It's both sides of the story, right? Experienced fault players need to rein in the toxicity a little bit, especially on a weekend like that, if they actually care about fault, which I think a lot of them don't care about fault. But on the other hand, if somebody's pissing you off in chat, just fucking mute them, just turn them off. It's not that hard. Right. I used to be just all out against toxicity, but I realized that some people just enjoy playing that way. They enjoy being toxic. And if they paid their fucking $20 to play fault, they should be able to play it the way they want to play. If they want to be a toxic asshole, go for it. But if you want to see the game grow, you're going to have to fucking realize that toxicity is going to push people away.
Right.
So it's more of a community thing. The community needs to fix that themselves. Fault, Strange Matter can't really do much to fix in-game toxicity, unless there's a million reports against the person.
I think I agree with you, Mangoose, but I also think that there's just lines that you can you can be toxic to a certain point, but then a lot of people just cross that line and don't care. There is no cap. They just keep going, and it's you're not benefiting anything, yourself or even any situation, by just doing what you're doing. Do you feel better if you flame somebody? Fine, but then when it just becomes once you've already got your points across, you going farther is not getting your point across any more or any better. It literally is already done. You've already done what you wanted to do. Continue going is the issue. And that's where I think that needs to, people need to learn. Okay, hold back.
I feel that's just probably going to be a never-ending issue, because then you got to consider their mid-match. There's some keyboard warriors that'll type a paragraph out, right? The majority doesn't even want to type a complete sentence because they're in the middle of the game. So that's when those adjectives that just hit to the core start coming out. Mike brought it up in the chat. Shout out to Mike. It's Mike TV, fellow partner. He said it's there's very few actual toxic players out there, but there's a lot of comments fuck you or idiot, and people are immediately this game is toxic. Now, there is a point where fuck you and idiot can easily turn into toxicity, right? But I just don't think that there's, besides adding like word censoring and shit and just having shit blocked, I really don't think there's really anything that they can do. We just have to hope that as a community, we grow enough to where, I don't know, the 1%, I don't even know if it's the 1%, let's say 10%. If the 10% that likes to play that way, maybe they're not noticed as much because there's a huge like influx of players, you know?
It takes a lot for me to type in chat. Like I'm a console guy, right? I only bought a PC for these games. That's it, right? So I'm not one to type. I'm the guy that does this. I don't actually type anything, right? I do this whole thing, right? I'm pretty good at it, but that's what I do. And so it's going to take a lot for me to like stop doing what I'm doing in game or wait till I die for me to hit, all right, enter and now start typing up what I want to say to that person. And it's more of a pain for me to do that. So I just don't really care about it anymore. Like, I just like, it is what it is. Me as a streamer, my camera covers chat. So I have no negative effect that way. And, if I read it, I read it. There's times I don't even read it. There's a couple times that I'll say, like, I read something. I was telling the person I was playing with, hey, they're talking to you. And like, oh, well, hey, thanks for letting me know because I wasn't looking. I think it was actually Huddy. I think they were talking to Huddy. Like, oh yeah, I wasn't paying. Yeah, thanks, But other than that, like, I really don't pay attention. And like, I don't know. Maybe I don't pay attention because I know they're flaming me because I'm not good at the game. But I don't know. Either way, I get there is a mute function, but there needs to be. This will help the game. This will help the game. There needs to be a function where you can have it automatically muted before you even go into a game. Right from the main lobby screen, you can go into settings and have chat muted right from the beginning. So then when you go into game,
it'd be a nice quality of life.
It has nothing to, you don't have anything happening. It just needs to be an automatic thing. You shouldn't have to go into every game, hold up the scoreboard and go down your team and mute everybody. It should be something you turned on. You can turn on or turn off. And then if you need to mute individual, if you're somebody like me and want it on and you need to mute certain individuals, you still have that ability to pull up the scoreboard and mute that individual if need be, but that needs to be something they do in the game, that just on the settings screen, turn it off. And that way you don't have to worry about it one bit.
I think a lot of the toxicity or whatever you want to call it will be solved once they have a larger player base and you have better matchmaking. So a lot of it stems from that. You're matched with people that are just way better than you. And instead of like guiding you, they just kind of flame you. And I can understand where it'd be frustrating from their point of view when they're constantly matched with fucking potatoes like me and they have to deal with that shit. You know what I mean? Like I would get mad too, probably, but I don't know. I think, yeah, if once they have more players, I think the toxicity will even out a little bit. Maybe not, all of it, of course, but
yeah,
that's part of the problem is just not a big enough player base in Fault right now to have good matchmaking. So you get some weird matches, man. You get matched up with some weird.
Well, and then even then, like you get matched up, you start seeing the same team you're going up against or whatever, and you just kind of get, you get flustered, and then even the people who are normally even keel, they start to get a little tilted. And when they start to get tilted, then they start, being a little toxic in chat and stuff like that, and it certain thing, the bigger the player base, the less odd times you see something like that happening. So that doesn't happen. You can have that bad game. All right, queue up again and not see that person again. And now we're good to go. Like, now I had a good game and you forgot about the one you just had. But now it's like you had that game, you queue up, it's like, fuck, we got this guy again. Like, I don't want, like, are you kidding me? Like, I have times, like, I'll queue up, and I've had that. I'll wait. I'm going to give him time to get a queue because I'm going to sit here and wait a minute because I don't want to deal with it. So.
Yeah. You know what I really want? I want the game to fucking remember when somebody's muted. Like, if I mute somebody, they have to really be going ham, right? Typically, I don't mute people. Typically, I'll like, hey, man, chill out. He's new or whatever. But if there's somebody going ham where I'm like, all right, this individual should not even be allowed to fucking chat. I just want the game to remember that if I muted somebody, keep them muted until I unmute them. Do like Discord. Right. Just remember the fact that I muted that individual, and I'm just never going to see that individual's messages unless I unmute.
Right.
I don't know if that's hard to do. I don't know if that's would get saved in game files.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to do, but I don't know for sure. I just think because that's an individual game, you know, and like a bunch of things are going on for that one game, and then for it to go to tie it into the next game as well, that's going to be the hard part, you know. Like, I think it'd be different if you muted that person in the main lobby, you know, like just to tie your account and their account together, like this is muted. But I don't know. I could be completely wrong. It could be something that's pretty simple or whatever, but I could see how it could be a challenging thing to do. So it's funny we're talking about all of this. Mm-hmm. I'm an advocate for voice chat. I want voice chat in the game.
Yeah, I saw Empty make that comment in the chat. Empty was like, wait a minute. I thought Bearded didn't want mute. I thought he wanted to talk to people. Which, I mean, having the option to mute all and wanting to talk to people are still two very, very different things, right? Yeah. Like, there's days, like, I can even pick Call of Duty. There's days where I'm like, I'm going to have my mic on. I'm talking to everybody in that bitch. Somebody wants to argue? Let's fucking go, son. I've been here since Call of Duty 1. Try to shit talk me. Watch what happens. And then there's days where I'm like, I don't want to put up with shit. Go into the settings, mute team chat. Chilling. I'm just vibing, listening to some reggae or whatever, just coasting. Like, so I still would like an option like that. I think
just with a MOBA, I think a voice chat, you know, again, you could do the same thing that Overwatch does. You know, there is a voice chat, but you can turn it off before you even go into a game. That way you don't have to, you're like, your mic, you're not talking to anybody in the game. You don't have to hear them. You don't have to talk to them. You know, and that can have, if you're that person, that's fine. But if you have a mic, it is so much easier to communicate with this game. You're using voice comms than it is to use a ping system.
It would be cool.
And to hope that your person sees it. You know, it's so much easier for me to say enemy missing mid or enemy missing right over voice comms than it is for me to do a ping system and hope that you saw it.
Yeah, I will say
that you paid attention.
Speaking of games like, you know, like Overwatch or anything like that, like other team-based games, hell, even Valorant, I look forward to chatting with my teammates, even if they're randoms, regardless if I think they're good or bad. I would rather talk to them than type to them, because at least talking to them has tonality. You feel me? Like, exactly. Like it comes across different. Yeah. I can literally say in the chat, back up. Right? Just the word, back up. And then
place a ward.
Place a ward.
And auto run puts all caps on, so it looks like you're yelling at them.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real.
Ward.
I'm gonna be real with you. That's a big rip.
Place a ward. You know, and it's like, son of a bitch. Like, literally, and if you could hear me, if I could just say, hey, can you place a ward for me? My ward time's down. Me and Goose do it all the time. Goose, hey, my wards are on, you know, cooldown. All right, I got you. You know, I go in and I cool down. Now, if Goose would have typed that, I would think that he's being a dick and he's probably being toxic towards me and like yelling at me because I never placed a ward. But you know, but it is what it is. No, like, yeah, so yeah, voice comms would negate some of the toxicity that was not actually meant to be toxicity, but then once you perceive it as toxicity, you are toxic back, and now all of a sudden that person that wasn't being toxic starts being, it just becomes this issue that didn't have to happen because all I said was place a ward.
I will say too, people are keyboard warriors when it comes to typing. They'll say whatever the fuck they want. But when you're actually talking to somebody, even if it's just over voice comms, right? Like they're a little bit braver than in person, of course.
Right.
But even then, like once people actually hear you, the tone, like if, like, for example, if I don't know Bearded, but if this man comes on comms as a friendly dude, you know what? He's a pretty chill fucking dude. I don't care if he's 0-6 right now. You know what? You did great, buddy. I'll send you a Lunchables. No problem. You did great. Maybe next time. Like, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
it's so sad because it's true.
But yeah, like
I'm the exact opposite, by the way.
What?
It's weird.
What do you mean? You don't like talking?
I'm way nicer, like in video games, in chat, or on voice comms or whatever, than in person. Like I'm a very aggressive.
I could totally see that shit. I run into him at a Walmart. He's just staring at you, like mean mugging the fuck out of you because he wants you to move your cart out of the way. And it's just like, babe, I don't know why, but that bald guy just keeps staring at us. Just keep walking. I think he's gonna stab us. Oh man. But
yeah.
Okay, so let's say issue number 2 would be community interaction. What do you think issue number 3 would be before we go into these patch notes?
Issue number 3 is another one that they can't really change. Is people expect Paragon and it's not Paragon. They expect Fault to match their memory of Paragon and it's not that. It's never going to be that. It's not something they can fix. Not something I think they should fix.
To tie into that, people are expecting Paragon, and it shouldn't. You're right. They should expect Paragon, but like the heroes, right? And how the hero kits are completely different, or whatever. You know, like somebody was talking about Chimera and how Chimera was in Paragon, and how it's so different in this game, or whatever. I'm like. And like we were trying to ask like what version of Chimera you're talking about, because what version of Paragon Chimera do you think they we should have went with? They want more of like a more of a survival, like the lifesteal Chimera. I think they said. I don't know. I didn't play Chimera in Paragon, so I didn't know what they were talking about. But that's what they're talking about. I'm like, I don't look at these kits and expect them to be identical to Paragon. There are some kits that I did prefer in Paragon or whatever. And it's not even a kit. Well, one of them is a kit, one's not. Like Twin Blast. I don't like Twin Blast at all in Fault. It is so anticlimactic to me, and I feel like there needs to be more. I think it just needs to be more of a visual cue, not his body turning orange, because that's still not enough. Like I loved it when he came out and he had this big old fucking gun he was killing you with, right? I thought it was badass. Loved it. Give me that back, I'll be happy. But the other one is I preferred Murdock's kit, his knockback to be a part of his gun, his buckshot. When you use his buckshot, that knocked him back. And then I don't know what his other one he had, the other part of his kit was, but I think it was just a passive. I think it was just passive. I think it was his passive instead of it, but which is fine. I preferred the buckshot to be the knockback, instead of it being buckshot and then you have to use a shield bash, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not so pointed. Like I can't wait to not play Faults anymore because here I am.
Now, couldn't something be said along the lines of they can't and shouldn't focus on changing people's minds, but couldn't they be making an effort to set an expectation, like specific, like everybody that doesn't know Paragon doesn't fucking matter, right? They're not going to be able to compare like to Paragon, right? At least, but. Should they at all even acknowledge the fact, like, hey, this isn't Paragon?
They do.
Like,
they do. Not
well,
a strong point, but they do.
Well, we've gone over the fact that in their About Us area, they mention it's like, hey, this is a game inspired by a game that we all loved, etc. But how many people actually read that, or fewer and far in between? You get what I'm saying?
Right. But I mean, like, so yeah, I mean, they're not. I don't think there's anybody. I mean, I'm not watching somebody moderate Twitter chat or like
comments
Facebook,
and
any social media chat. The only thing I'm watching is Discord, and I do know that mods and devs in Discord, if anybody new comes in and said, hey, is this Paragon or whatever, there is somebody who kind of gives a blanket statement saying this is a game that using epic assets but not Paragon.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I would just be like the social media team handling on the other sides, right? Because I will say, like, and shout out to the Strange Matter mods, because they do a damn good job of, correcting information. Be like, no, it isn't that, but we recommend you try this out. It's a little bit different. They try to keep it on a positive tone most of the time. Right. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the best they can do with texting, Could you imagine if Discord was all voice comms? Could you imagine only Gen Chat voice comms right now? Oh my gosh.
You've sold me. I need an join to talk to Arma chat right now. And could you imagine how cluttered that shit would be if they had a talk to a mod voice chat?
Oh,
and it would just be like mods in there sitting and people coming in asking questions and having conversation. The mods would go crazy.
Right.
So hashtag talk to Arma chat. We need to make that happen for sure. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and go through the patch notes that they announced. Now, these notes aren't the most extensive, right? Still a couple of good changes, a couple of interesting changes. I'm looking at you, Richter lovers. We're going to talk about that in a second.
I'm going to say right now, I love 99% of this patch. They missed the mark with Richter. They didn't. They missed the mark with Richter. They didn't change they needed to do. I'll wait though.
How'd they miss the mark? The hitbox.
What?
That's how they missed the mark.
Okay.
Do it. I want you guys to explain to me, and Mangoose, you seem pretty knowledgeable about it. What is easy anti-cheat? I don't know what this is.
It's just anti-cheat software. It's not the most comprehensive anti-cheat software, but it does pick up some of the more common cheats out there, like auto aim and stuff like that, and it'll ban them. But it also gives Strange Matter tools that they can use to flush out some of the other cheats that might be in their game. Like if somebody writes a cheat specifically for
a speed glitch or something,
for a fault or something, then it'll be easier for them to
detect,
find that. But it'll still take quite a few reports of that person cheating before it even comes to their attention. But it will cancel out a lot of the more common cheats out there.
I'm gonna report freaking the AI fucking Gideon, man. He's dropping rocks. Just looking behind him. Like, how the hell did you drop that rock there?
I saw.
I'm there.
I saw the AI Gideon teleport backwards. That shit blew my mind. He was facing me, went backwards. I was like, that motherfucker's hacking. Get me the fuck out.
AI Murdock's pushback is a fart because he doesn't even turn whenever you get blasted back.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's that millisecond flip. That's what it is, bro. Get good. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Easy anti-cheat is also used in a lot of popular games. Oh. Isn't it the same one used in Fortnite too, if I'm not mistaken?
No.
I don't know.
They do not use easy anti-cheat in Fortnite. Epic has their own system. It is used in a lot of games, though. I'm pretty sure it's used in Conan Exiles. It's used in, I think Apex Legends uses it. Battlefield uses it. There's a lot of games use it. It's a pretty popular anti-cheat software.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it's at least nice to know that it's in there, right? And even if it's a system, let's say, for example, that might not catch everything. Oh, yeah, and I see in chat, people are saying it's using Rust and such. But, and they're saying that Epic purchased Easy Anti-Cheat. Oh, well, GG for them, I guess. But even, how do I say this? There's never...
the Epic Anti-Cheat.
I can't with you, right? Even if it's one of those things that, like, no anti-cheat is going to be able to catch 100% of the cheaters, right? But it's an ever-evolving system, ever-adapting system and stuff. It's still at least good and nice to see that they have an anti-cheat, especially as Mangoose mentioned a few weeks ago, especially if they're so focused on having an esport-centered, kind of like verse, so to speak, like down the road, right? So it is nice to see that it's actually in there. Let's go over a few of these bug fixes, because I know bug fixes are some of the reasons why people leave, right? Starting off here with the draft. Fixed an issue
huge,
causing players to be able to draft dodge without penalty if they did not lock in a hero. I don't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
But yeah, you guys don't spend time in Gen Chat like I do. Like, this is like, it was happening so much. It was insane. People just doing it and there's nothing happening to them, and it's like
getting away with it.
I'm surprised, honestly, as much as I've seen people complain about this. I don't know if it was that hard of a bug to fix, man. That maybe it was what it was, but I'm surprised it took this long to fix it. Like, as much as people were complaining about it, I think it was something to do, because I think they did something. They changed it with the free weekend. You didn't want the people coming in and did not knowing what they're doing to get banned. So I think they took it down. And then when they went to implement it back after the free weekend was done, something happened to it. And I think that's what caused it, but I could be completely wrong. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, it sounds plausible. I mean, it makes sense too, that wanting to like kind of be a little bit lenient because there's such a bunch of new players in there. You don't want a new player to like not lock in or whatever and then be like, oh, look, banned for 5 minutes. Well, time to give up on this game. So I could totally see that. It definitely sounds plausible. Then as far as heroes, so there was an issue going on with all the heroes. There was an issue that some movement speed effects were causing the base movement speed to default to the base movement speed when the ability was first used. Now, that I'll be honest, that's a little bit of a confusing sentence in my eyes. I'm assuming what that means is if there was a movement ability implemented of the sorts, right? Like it would revert you, or if there was if maybe something that boosted your movement speed was used, using an ability would cause it to cancel. Like the one that I can think of is help me out, support item gives everybody movement speed around you. Holy shit. Tiog. So like Tiog, like it's, or like a Narbash March, for example. Just things that give you accelerated movement speed, and maybe casting an ability would cause that to go away. That's what I get off of this. Is that what you guys get off of this? Like, I don't know.
What I get off of it is that movement speed you first get becomes your base movement speed. So if there's a drop off in the movement speed, after that drop off occurs, you go back to the super fast.
Oh, so you're thinking maybe it was an issue that people weren't slowing but getting slow back.
That's the way it's written.
Right, but people, so the main hero that this was happening with was a Sparrow, right? You could buy boots with Sparrow, but you're still just going literally the based movement speed. Doesn't matter if you have boots on. Doesn't matter if you have movement speed. If you put on the cloak, or was the cloak gives you movement speed? I think it's cloak. Whatever the items give you movement speed as well. If you did all that stuff, you don't get that benefit. You're literally just doing the base movement speed.
Also, that sucks.
Dater had an issue where he did something. I think he popped his shield in a Decker ball or Decker dome, or what do you call it, right? And it just gave him instant slow mode the rest of the time. Oof. Even so it was pretty bad. So I'm hoping that was fixed as well with this movement speed issue. So that could have been something that was causing it as well. But yeah.
I can imagine that probably felt horrible for a bunch of people. So it's good that it's fixed.
Yeah.
Then on Kalari, wow, I almost said Kalari's name wrong. What is wrong with me today, bro? So Kalari, her assassin's tactic, her passive, fix the double jump, sometimes not playing the proper animation and jumping the full distance. Okay, so she wasn't flipping as intended, just maybe look a little wonky when doing it. But just visual thing, that's a nice quality of life thing, right? On Chimera, fix an issue causing silences to stop Chimera from gaining passive stacks.
I thought this was intentional, and I thought that
was on purpose too.
Yeah. Like I would silence him to drop his stacks. So like I thought that was totally intentional.
Yeah, but the issue with that is you can't gain, like it literally stops you from gaining it, not just for that silence period, like for that time. Like I can't.
Oh, it's stopping forever.
Stopping it.
Oh, like at least during the team fight, or.
But yeah, there was it literally stopped it, not just for the silence duration. It was stopped until you either maybe you backed or something. There was something else that was causing it as well. Like you're not causing it as well, but something else. Like you either had to die to get it to come back or whatever. We need Tim's in chat. If Tim's in chat, he can let us know what's going on. But
no, I get you, because it does specifically say it was causing him to stop gaining stacks. Not that it took his stacks away, right? So maybe silencing him, taking his stacks away is intentional. But maybe it was just stopping him from being able to regrow those stacks, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Then on Narbash, his Song of My People, his E, fix an issue with the in-game description. I don't think I saw anything specifically. Maybe I just...
Read it.
I'll be honest, I don't. Yeah, when's the last time you read those, bro?
Yeah. And that's the in-game one. So in-game one, does that mean like literally when you're holding whatever?
When you're holding control.
When you're holding,
or it could be in menu too.
Or is it in the menu when you're in lobby and you're looking at, and
shouldn't those both be the same?
Death of Deus is how do you mess up, move faster?
I can't.
That's true.
I mean, this is Song of My People. This is his heal though.
His E, that's his heal. Yeah, that's the one you guys don't use. You guys say that it's like pointless to even have on our best.
I still use it all the time. But yeah, I mean, it could be either or. I have noticed that sometimes, I do notice sometimes in like the description in the menu, it doesn't necessarily always match 100% the description in game. Not sure why there's a variance. I would like to see it in both, or at least see in the menu like they had in the website, like showing you like, hey, this ability and these are the different, tiers that it can scale up to, etc. Or it scales based off of this much. I would like to see just all that detail, at least in the menu.
I need to look up his Paragon abilities because I always associate his E with the movement speed. I think that has to be an artifact of Paragon.
You sure your keybinds weren't messed up?
Maybe.
Or different?
I don't know, but every time I think his E, I think of the speed buff. But you're right. The speed buff is on the cube.
I don't know, man. You might have had some goofy ass keybinds. Because here's the thing. You gotta remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but specifically in Paragon, the average movement ability was like a specific button for most people. Unless you were like Greystone and it was your right click. But like for most people, movement, any movement abilities was a specific button. Or they tried to keep that as to a specific button as much as possible.
Yeah,
so I don't think his E was movement speed, but it could have been. Like shit, it's been what, 5 years since we played Paragon, so who knows? Maybe somebody can go back and confirm. But then we have Phase
right now.
Bet, go check. But then we have Phase. During role selection, Phase was showing up for off lane and mid lane instead of support. I also thought that was intentional. Because they were like mage. I thought they wanted mage Phase. Because she came out doing so much damage.
Off lane.
No, like her ultimate did damage. I thought they were like, well, that's the meta they're trying to do. I don't know. You feel me?
Definitely need to be in. If anything, you might be right. That might be intentional, but she still needs to show up on the support tab.
Yeah,
like she wasn't even there. I literally got into a game where I went to go do. I think I went to do an AI match. Right. This is right when she gets released. Right. So the day she got released, we all played together. We all had a good time, and we all took our turns. I never actually played as her because everybody else was playing. So I prefer my ADC anyways. I didn't care. So the next time I streamed, I jumped into, hey, you know what? I'll jump into an AI match because I haven't touched AI really. I'll jump into an AI match and I'll learn Phase. So I go into an AI match and I click support and I'm like,
you couldn't find her. It's like, did I not buy her?
Did I not buy her? Like,
I went through that shit.
Because as partners, we kind of, that's one of the benefits we have as being partners. Like, here you go. You have the hero, show off the hero, right? Type of thing. Well, we have. So I'm like, I didn't buy her. So was it only free because it was the day of? So like, let me go back. So I literally exited the draft. I'm like, all right, let me exit the draft. Let me go buy her real quick. I'm like, why can't I buy her? It says that I have her. So I go back into the draft. I'm like, she's not in support. So I'm like, well, she is in the game. I'm like, why is she everywhere else but support? It threw me off.
Yeah, I'll be real. I agree with Molo in the chat. Shout out to Molo. I think it was because they nerfed the mage out of Phase. Because she was more like a mage and they just kept nerfing her. And she's like, now she's a support. Because if I would understand... instead of
she still needed to be on the support tab no matter what.
Yeah, probably
put her on every tab for all I care, but putting her on every tab and not putting her on support, like what? That threw me off.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Nah, for sure. I don't disagree there, but it was definitely a shock when she wasn't on there, right? That's why I thought it was intentional. Because if it were one of those things where it's like it doesn't say support, it says mid, well, maybe it was a misclick. Who knows? Maybe it's just Like shit like that happens. But when I saw mid and solo, I was like, that feels intentional. Like that feels directed. Like I feel like they want a range offlane meta. Change my mind. They're encouraging this.
So no, I agree. I mean, her beam does need to be shortened. Like that beam is too oppressive.
The beam doesn't need to be shortened. The problem right now is that her strafe speed is just as fast while channeling the beam as if not channeling the beam.
That's a good point.
Her movement speed is supposed to be slowed when channeling the beam. However, she can strafe just as fast as always when channeling the beam. I think that's a bug.
All right,
or slow her down even more. Put her in molasses.
Right. So for me to dodge the beam, I could easily, as long as I'm not using an ability, I should be able to run out of it. But she's able to just keep up with me. It's movement.
From a support perspective, like it used to be in Paragon, it was easy to shut down Phase as any other support because whenever she would start channeling the beam, she would be significantly slowed and easy to hit with pretty much any ability.
Almost rooted.
Now in Fault, like it seems like she almost speeds up. Like a good Phase will start channeling that beam and start, going all over the goddamn place. Where she should be significantly slowed in that strafe animation, and she's not right now.
Yeah, I would definitely say if it is that slowed is being applied properly, they definitely do need to increase that because I feel like as a Phase, I can chase somebody down, catch them at the end of the beam, and then while we're both getting slowed, I am significantly catching up to them. Like by a good margin. You feel me? Like I feel like if I'm slowing somebody like that, I should be slowed down almost as much as they can be slowed down, but the rest of my team can catch up. Does that make sense? Is that weird?
No, it is. I think you're right. I think something needs to change with it because that's the thing is I could see that a Phase is coming and I turn and run and it doesn't matter. I'm caught because that beam, the length of that beam is going to get me, and I'm like, shit. All right. And once that the beam touches me, I know that their whole team is going to catch me now. So it's, I don't know. I understand what Goose is saying, but I still almost think that the range on it still needs to be, shortened a little bit as well. But let's do one thing at a time. Let's fix the strafing and see if the strafing is really all that needs to be taken care of. And then from there we'll go. But like,
hey man, if her beam is going to reach that far, and if Decker Bomb can reach that far, make Narbas Thunk reach that far. Change my mind. Keep the speed. Make it a hell of a skill shot. Like if I'm going to land it that far, I had to lead it by like 5 feet or some bullshit. But don't tell me that my Thunk carries auto range basically, while this bitch can poke me from 3 miles away.
Yeah.
Now, let's go into these items here. Now, apparently, Mana Shard, there was an issue that was allowing Grim.exe to gain energy from Mana Shard. So that's broken. I'm glad that's fixed. I would have never even thought to test it because I'll be real. I looked at it, I was like, there's no way that works. It shouldn't work. It's not, it's not mana. It's not going to work. Don't do it. Because people ask me, it's like, yo, what if I build this? Yeah, you're throwing it if you do that. Don't do it. Well, apparently it was working. Good thing that's fixed. A map issue that was fixed. There was an issue causing hero outlines to not appear. So now those outlines have been adjusted to where all outlines should be appearing. And then under the structures, there was an issue causing players to get stuck on inhibitor floors on Dawn side. Now, there's still quite a bit of issues like that happen throughout the map, right? But I'm glad to see that at least they're starting to iron those kinks out slowly. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like fix this. Yeah. Okay, at least we know inhibs on Dawn side are Gucci. Now they can move over and fix the next spot, implement that, fix the next, and hopefully, it won't take too long, but hopefully before they start doing an actual full push, they'll have a decently prepared and prepare, set map that won't have that many issues when they do more free to play weekends and such, right? But it's nice to see that progress is still being done. So shout out to Strange Matters on that one. Now let's get to this balance notes, because some of these is where you were saying, Bearded, that you Yeah, let's just get into some of these and what they might mean, and let's debate them, quite frankly, because we might have differentiating. Oh my God, what's the word? Oh, I forgot my English. Differentiating opinions. Thank you. Holy shit. Or different opinions. Bro, English is hard. Anyway. So on Templar, the armor granted to nearby allies got increased by 1%. Protective mana, the percent of mana spent that becomes a shield, got increased from 15% to 25%. That's a good little chunk. I can imagine Templar on a Decker is probably going to feel even better now, to be honest. And then on Clairvoyant, we see All-Seeing Eye perk. The percentage of increased vision ward gives you got increased from 15% to 25%. And then the Apparatus Efficiency perk, item active cooldown, increased from 15% to 20%. Those
20.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It still translates to the percentage.
Yeah, it's like in game, it's listed as percentage. I don't know why there's only 1% in 4 cents in I don't know why they're being picky on that.
I don't know if it was 15 seconds to 20 seconds or whatever. Like,
no. So the perk itself in game is percentage wise.
Okay.
Yeah, it's percentage wise because all the actives have a different amount, right? So it's just trying to be fair across the board. But I mean, 20% cooldown on your actives, you're literally eliminating a fifth of that entire cooldown. And that's massive on some of those support actives that are like 2 minutes long. Yeah. I love the fact that support aspects are actually getting some love. Like, these are awesome. I can imagine that supports might feel a lot smoother or a lot better in general with these changes, Now, of course,
you always took anyways. Just any increase to Templar is a good increase from a support's perspective. Clairvoyant, I've hardly ever used, but I might start using it now because the actives for support are so impactful.
Yeah, that's interesting. If I was building actives, like if I'm building just a hardcore support build, right, where we have like Substitution in there and we had like Teog, we have Blessing of the Divine, etc., I would always build Clairvoyant. If I'm doing my trolley support, where I'm like, hey man, I'm a Richter, I'm going to support you by being green, okay? Like, I got you. I'm just going to stand in the way, say less. Then I would pick it. What were you going to say, Britton?
How does All-Seeing Eye work? Does that for every ward on your, if you have Clairvoyant, your team now has 25% bigger thing, or is it
your wards
you place? Just your ward you place. Okay. That's
so with Clairvoyant as a support, you could, in the original map design where the gold buff was behind the wall, with Clairvoyant, you could place a ward dead in the middle and cover middle and both lanes because that increased 15% reached. The increased the radius by quite a bit. Now, dude, I'll be real with you. You know what that's interesting? The fact that that's increasing all the way to 25% on vision. I wonder if you place a ward right at the stairs, how much further is it going to alert you that mid lane is coming through there? You feel me?
Right.
Like extra 25% on that radius.
Or now that you put it, if you put it more in the center, like put it almost right with,
it might reach up the stairs.
Gold buff. Are you going to like put it right in the middle of that gold buff? Are you going to be able to get a good distance on both lanes instead of having to have one south and one north? Can you get a good distance on both sides now?
Well, it's only 10% from what it used to be.
Right. Really, but I mean, is that 10% bigger going to be?
Yeah. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, like the 10% difference between the two is a nice change. It's nothing too crazy. But the fact that the ward vision overall gets increased by 25% is definitely going to make it more lucrative for people to pick, right?
You keep highlighting Templar, and we're actually talking about Clairvoyant.
I am sorry. I'm just highlighting shit on the screen, bro. My ADD. I'm sorry.
Chad's like, what? Wait, are we talking about Clairvoyant still, or what?
No. So let's talk about one that we've actually talked about here for a few weeks.
My gosh, this needed to happen.
And Rogue. Now, Rogue on the Vengeance perk, the base bonus damage dealt got reduced. Now it starts at 20, ends at 160. So they essentially lowered it early game and they lowered it late game. So just overall a big nerf to the damage that specific perk of Rogue did. The cooldown got increased by 5 seconds to a total of 30. So now you can only proc it every 30 seconds. And now the attack window got decreased to 2 seconds. So now for you to proc Rogue,
skill shot.
Well, yeah, like you remember how we were mentioning, like with a Murdock, you can land an auto, shotgun, and another auto, and be able to proc it. But that's more of a skill-based thing. I think that specifically targets things like Phase being able to proc it, because within those 2 seconds, she can't get enough hits in. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I think that small tweak still allows it to be a skill shot for a lot of players. Like, hell, even if you want to go out there and flex and be a Narbash and be like, basic thunk, basic, you could still pull that shit off, right? But it's more of a skill shot as opposed to free damage for everybody, or what seemed like everybody, right?
Yeah.
On this almost passive before. Now you have to actually activate the effective Rogue.
Right. Yeah, that's what I meant. It's more skill involved. It's not just something that just automatically happens to you.
And adding another 5 seconds before you can activate it again is a huge nerf, because that means now you can only do it twice per minute if you time that shit on point. You feel me? So it definitely, throughout the course of the game, less times it's being applied is definitely a huge nerf for it. And then on Rogue, cooldown, on the Rogue perk within Rogue, cooldown of percent max health bonus damage increase from 18 to 24. So they added a full 6 seconds to being able to deal the extra damage. So overall, Rogue as a whole cannot be used as frequent. That's essentially what we need to learn from this little update on it, right? And that's overall a good thing. I don't know if the damage numbers are enough. Of course, we're going to have to see that as a community, right? I don't know if the duration of 2 seconds, if it's going to be right on the sweet spot. Is it too much of a skill shot, or should it be more of a skill shot as opposed to like Gideon's passive, for example, right? Like, should it be much more skill shot oriented, where it's like, hey man, that if you run Rogue, that shit's hard to hit, but if you hit it, you're going to be rewarded, you know? So we'll see. But I'm glad that they noticed that a change to Rogue needed to be done, and that it wasn't just like items doing that difference, right? Even though there are some item changes here. Then as well, for Opportunist, the Saboteur perk, active trinket cooldown reduction got increased from 30 to 50% cooldown reduction on your trinkets. The radius of true vision increased from 1500 to 1800. And then the duration of the true vision increased from 6 to 10. So now you are a dewarding master if you're rocking Opportunist. Do you think that's going to make it more enticing for people to actually run? Like, considering you can deward that much? Because active trinket cooldown, correct me if I'm wrong, that's like your rad pulse, right?
Yeah. Your rad pulse or your stealth items. Yep.
So being
emblem.
Yeah, so your rad pulse coming up twice as fast, so you can deward twice as fast. That's kind of poggers when it comes down to it. That's pretty substantial.
This will get better and better the higher skill level you are. Because you
wouldn't. Sorry, but I mean, you wouldn't with having Opportunists, you wouldn't need rad pulse because you literally see everything, right? Isn't that how that works?
No, you see everything after you've
been detected.
Right.
After you kill a ward, that's when it activates and you get the true vision.
I thought it was you get detected, you see the ward, and then you're able to destroy it.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm fucking
all right. Well, you know what?
So you wouldn't need. So you pretty much are the rad pulse. You're gonna detect it because putting a rad pulse down for you to detect it and go up and kill it there would be no point for that. So this would help your stealth emblem. So you could definitely basically you picking this up makes it Radpulse for you. You just have to be the active running around Radpulse, but you're able to put more.
I think we're confusing two different items here. I think we're confusing Enlightened Saber and Opportunist. Because if I'm not mistaken, Opportunist is the one that you need to de-ward, and then you get increased True Vision. So like I just used my Radpulse, but now as I move up, I can see other wards that my Radpulse might have not caught.
Okay.
Enlightened Saber is the one where you get spotted and it gives a pulse detecting shit around you if you were spotted.
Okay. That's probably what
but they are very, very similar in two different ways, and that as far as how they work. And then
confirmed just what you said.
Okay, cool. And then Opportunist perk of Opportunist, the radius of isolated enemy heroes has been decreased to 1,500 units. So for those of you that don't know, Opportunist gives you basically extra damage in a one-on-one.
Yep.
But now you have to be even closer. So it's not like, hey, somebody just barely showed up on lane on the side and you lost the Opportunist perk. Like they have to be actually within basically a carry's basic attack range to be considered.
A radius decrease is a buff. You hardly ever see that.
True, right?
but yeah, this is definitely a buff to Opportunist.
No, absolutely. And the fact that they're making the Saboteur part even better. Like it might actually be worth using, because like before the Opportunist perk, it was like, cool, I get the extra damage on a one-on-one. But then when people were looking at it, it's like de-warding. They're like, yeah, it's not that important, or it's not that useful. You get a good amount of vision here.
It could be a 2-on-1. If you're a jungler and you gank solo or mid lane, as long as there's nobody else with the opposing mid laner, that still helps.
Correct. As long as there's no other enemies there. And well, actually, I would love correction on that. Is it just like that, or is it just isolated? Like as long as it's you two are the only one near.
I guess I would need. I'll definitely stand corrected. But the way I understood it is it's just literally the enemy isolated. It even says the radius of isolated enemy heroes. Like I think isolated that's just them not
only applying to enemy heroes.
Basically, dual lane would not be an isolated enemy hero.
I mean, that goes to show you how little Opportunist was used ever.
Yeah.
The fact, like, we're like, what the fuck does Opportunist do again? Nobody picks that shit. Like, I'll be honest with you. I like the fact that all three purple aspects are getting adjusted, because it felt like Rogue was the only purple one to pick. And then you could ignore the other ones, right? So I'm glad that there's more of a balance going around.
What what'd you call him? Sorry.
Defadeo?
Defadeo. All right. I was gonna say Hideo. So yeah, Defadeo says, I'd rather have buffs than nerfs. Make everything strong instead of try and make something weaker. Have stuff power creep. That's what they said. I disagree with that, because the fact that once you get to a point you just start making everything strong, it takes a lot of the skill out of the game. And a MOBA is supposed to be a real skillful game, a skill strategy game that you're going into. And once you make everything so OP that it just goes in and it just becomes to who can get their
who can build faster.
Who's more accurate with their shots.
I think that's what they did here, though. They buffed everything except for Rogue, which they nerfed.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It almost felt like everything needed buffing because Rogue was on the board. So I almost wish that they would have just nerfed Rogue separately as a hotfix, right? And then seen how that affects the overall meta of the game. And then be like, you know what? This needs nerfing. This needs buffing, right? But like almost everybody that was building mage items, everybody building physical damage out, like everybody doing damage that had Rogue seemed a little bit too strong. You get me? So I almost wish that these would have been in two separate phases, or before they actually started implementing some of these. But we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah.
On Aggressor, they adjusted the Mistwalker perk. The bonus movement speed when you go through fog walls increased to 12%, and then the duration increased to 4%. So we're seeing
4 seconds.
I'm sorry, 4 seconds. Thank you. Sorry. Hey, man, bro, my brain's broken today. Confirmed. It's the cheese.
Where's your head at, bro?
It's the cheese, bro. It's the cheese. But yeah, so that's not bad because as we know, aggressor also gives the extra damage when you're on the enemy half, right?
Yep.
But now you're able to gank faster, basically. Going through fog walls, you move faster, and it lasts an extra second, bro. Like a chimera with extra movement speed for an extra second? That's nutty, bro.
I watched a chimera, not with this, because this is before this patch, but I watched a chimera with aggressor chasing somebody down one of the outer lanes, right? And they were running, and so they stepped into the fog wall real quick and stepped right back out and got that movement speed. And just like it was, I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, they literally chased him down that way. I'm like, all right, let's go. I think, all right, we're not catching these people. He did that. I'm like, oh shit.
Bro, aggressor and Phantom Blade catch people real fucking quick when you're chasing, bro.
I've been saying for a while that aggressor is one of the most underrated aspects out there. Keep in mind that the movement speed does depreciate, so yeah, it's 4 seconds more, but the movement speed does drop off a bit. It's not like you get all that movement speed for a full 4 seconds.
Yeah,
so this is just better. This is just better than it was before.
Yep.
And then
it does get like you start off, it's like max whatever movement speed, and for 1 second, and then 2 seconds it's at 75%.
Like gradually tapers off.
Yeah, it tapers off then at the end of the 4 seconds you're at your normal movement speed that you're at before you hit that fog wall.
Yeah, but even adding that extra second
I put out.
Yeah, but having it taper off by like 25% at a time is way better than having it taper off by 33% per second.
Right.
Like that's still a really, really nice change to it. Now, I wonder if people are going to start using aggressor more like they were before, or are they going to still try to use rogue as the extra damage? Because before, everybody and their mother was running aggressor. They would always invade. They would always try to pick a fight on their half, etc. And because they wanted that extra damage. Now that there's, arguably 2 purple aspects that give you extra damage, I wonder which one people are going to go for more.
Why not be both purples?
You could, since technically there isn't an official jungle buff that you need, like what Beast Hunter used to be. You technically could just go for the extra damage and the movement speed and just try to yellow that shit, I guess, right?
I mean, I could see a Kalari really being taken, effect with both of these items.
Yeah, taking advantage. I could see that.
Yeah. Advantage that effect.
Nah, you're chilling. Hey,
I'm getting Windu brain. I didn't even eat cheese.
Hey man, it's contagious. Clearly, careful. I think I heard myself sneeze a bit ago. We're in trouble. Yeah. So on Titan
fix, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about this one. So on Titan, the reactive rejuvenation perk, total health regen after taking damage from an enemy hero was increased. So basically, they increased the flat amount that you get. Before it scaled, it was a flat 5 regen that you got, plus 1% of your missing health over 10 seconds. Now it's a flat 6, so the base amount got increased, and plus 5% of your missing health over 10 seconds. That's a lot of regen. 5% of your missing health, and of course, it really depends on who you're playing, but individuals like Greystone that already are capitalizing on regen because of their passive and stuff, I don't necessarily see why that was needed. I didn't
to counter the ranged offlane meta. To counter people in the offlane.
Okay, so you think this is a direct answer to that? Like anybody that wants to play melee?
I really think so. It makes it so much stronger now. Already with Greystone, with his changes, I was able to take out most mages like Morgash or Bellica or Gadget in the offlane sometimes. I was able to pretty much destroy them with Greystone. But if they took like Grim or something, even with disarming them, I was still getting burned down pretty quick.
I could see that.
So I think that's what this is.
It's substantial. I wonder how it's actually going to fare in team fights. Because I can imagine in team fights here, that's going to add a good little chunk of regen.
Oh, yeah.
Or like a Chimera that decides to run Titan in the middle of a team fight when he leaps in. That's a good little chunk of extra regen that he's going to have. Huh. So we'll see how that goes, right?
It's going to be, like you said, like Megu said, I agree with you that it's to help combat the ranged off lane meta that's going on. But let's say you got a Greystone versus a Quang. Is it going to be, like, is it going to be a must get, as you go? Like, I mean, if I go up against a Greystone that uses Titan and I'm a Quang, am I going to actually be hurting because I didn't grab it? Like, is it going to be like I have to grab this? So it's going to be, this is going to be the off lanes. This is going to be the off lanes, rogue.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I think it already is.
Like as far as sustainability, yeah.
We'll just cement it.
But I think that's a problem in the game, though. Like you shouldn't have a rogue like situation. You shouldn't have something that this is a must to get. You should have
like Ace was for carries, for example. Yeah,
you have all of these
aspects, and you're forced to choose one in a specific role. Yeah.
Like I don't think that it needs to happen to where that's not a thing. And this can be a quick fix for something, or a band-aid for the ranged meta for now, but I think there needs to be something to where this is not a, hey, this is a must to go to.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's going to be more of a player base and meta sort of vibe, right? Because as the player base grows, maybe range off lane won't be as common. Like for example, you can do it even in many other MOBAs. Like everybody knows when you have somebody go range off lane, it's AIDS. It's you need a skill set to be able to combat it, right? But it's not anything that's ever going to go away. Now, I do like the fact that if you guys remember in the draft screen, you can see the enemy team after the draft screen. You can see what the enemy is picking, what they got. If you literally sit there and you're like, hey, they literally have only one person that could either be jungle or off lane. Time to grab Titan, right? But if you see a Chimera and a Greystone on their team, it's like, hey, you know what? This might be one of those games where we don't grab Titan. Maybe we can flex a little bit. But at least I like the fact that there is that option to combat it, if that is what it's for. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes. If it's a little bit too overtuned, right? But I'm not mad against it. If me using other perks, I can still easily kill Greystone. Like I'm okay if this region helps them, but not if it carries them. Does that make sense? So we're gonna have to just wait and see.
100%. Yeah. Like if this makes them too strong or like just unbeatable, that's an issue. And I agree with you. I hope that doesn't make that a thing as well. But yeah, if it just helps them with the range off lane, I'm definitely okay with it. I just think in the future we got to do something to where it's not a must pick. All these aspects should be good picks. If you go with this pick, you're good. There shouldn't be if you pick this, you're inting, and there shouldn't be if you don't pick this, you're inting. Yeah, that should not be a thing. You should be able to pick any of these. I mean, now in your role, there's role specific ones. Obviously, if you're going off lane, you're picking all white. Well, you're inting. That's a different situation. But
you say that, but if you're mirror all white, aha. But yeah, like I guess we'll see, right? And we got to remember also that the meta is established by the players mainly. Like when people try stuff, when they experiment, they're like, "Yo, this is good," and that's why it's called meta, because it's better than the other options, right? Well, so there's always going to be a meta.
And part of the problem with the ranged offlane being so prevalent is because people fucking just quit so goddamn early in all the games. Because the advantage of taking a bruiser in your offlane is that late game you have
an extra
initiate and sustain, and you can actually win that late game. But people now are like, oh, the offlaner's tower went down fucking F1, you know?
Yeah. Well, so there was a range offlane meta. We've had that for a while now, but there recently, and we were talking about it last partner panel, there's also a like multiple ADC meta, and that actually got fixed, and we'll get farther into it. You know, we'll talk more about that as well. But yeah, like, so with this Titan thing, I'm okay with this Titan fix. Like I said, I just don't want it to be a must pick. You know, is it meta? Yes. You know, like is this certain hero the meta pick, but can I also pick this hero and still be able to win the game? Yes. Just because something's meta doesn't mean it's a must. That's, you know, meta and must are not, you know, similar, whatever.
Yeah,
they're not like that. They don't.
English is hard.
Synonymous.
That. Yeah.
So, am I the only fucking one on this panel that speaks English?
Bro, when you're from Virginia, I'm worried.
I'm speaking English. I just don't have that big of a lexicon that I can use all these words. All right.
Yeah, but you know lexicon.
I was only taught lexicon this last year, so don't even. I didn't know it before that.
Hey man, I'm about to just start eating my Frosted Flakes and open the dictionary, bro, because my brain is fried right now. Clearly. Oh my god. Let's move on here towards some of the hero changes that they made. So on Greystone, his right mouse button, also known as Assault the Gates, the leap time got reduced by 33%. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's basically just speeding up the animation, right? Like how long he's in the air?
I took it. Yeah, that's the way I took it.
Okay.
He's literally he's gonna.
Yeah, he just lands faster. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I figured from that one.
It's good in my opinion, because there's times that like he jumps and you're like, where the fuck did he go? And then all of a sudden he's running away. Like, I just looked that way. He wasn't there. You know, and it's like some bitch.
I was about to say, every time somebody says, where the fuck did he go? It's because he juked the fuck out of us. 100%. It's like, I literally just did a 360. Where is this bitch? It's like, oh, there he is. He like leaped on the ledge and then walked away or some shit. But
Legend,
yeah, I'm okay.
33% of his time was in the air still.
Yeah.
You're looking and he's still flying. And you're like, okay, and then he lands. There's no.
I guess he did have a little bit of floatiness to him when he did go up in there. So quality of life change overall.
For sure.
Then on Murdock, his shield push, targets affected by his right mouse button are pushed quicker. So the same distance, same cast time, but instead of just slowly getting pushed back, they reach the end result of the push faster.
Yep.
Now, I don't think that's a bad one. I think that definitely helps against like Kalaris that can close that gap again. Because before, Kalari could dash forward mid-push, right? Like she didn't have to like go through the full push animation. Now she might actually fully get pushed before realizing like, fuck, okay, now I gotta dash. So little things like that, I could totally see it. Another quality of life change. Now Richter. Man, Richter.
Let me preach on it.
Yeah. Let me just read it out. So his chain pull, his right mouse button, the hitbox got increased in size by 233%. It went from 15 units to 35 units. It's now halfway between its original size and the previous size. Can I just say I was A-okay without knowing the 233%? I did not need to know that.
I think that's needed to let you know that this was a big fucking increase.
But it's still not as big as it used to be.
I mean, bro, I'll be honest. I don't need the percent. When I look at 15 and 35, it's like, oh, it's more than double now. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just think that's a funny dramatic change.
That statement of that it's halfway between what its original size and previous size, like, that's crazy.
That's more interesting.
How big was the previous size?
Yeah.
I really think they missed the mark here. The joy of playing Richter is hitting a hard to land skill shot. The problem and fault was that it moves way too goddamn slow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want
an easier shot to hit.
It's not the size of the chain, it's how you use it. They needed to speed that shit up, not make it bigger.
I don't disagree.
People can like look at even with me I use quick cast on Richter. I don't fucking walk towards people like that, you know. I just can whip that chain out. People can still have enough reaction time to where when they see the start of that animation, they can sidestep it. They sidestep wherever they're going. That was a big problem because of the how fast it goes. Just making it bigger that just I don't know. It kind of hurts my heart a little bit because I want it to be a hard to hit skill shot, but I just want it to move faster so that people can't just fucking always juke it.
Right. Yeah, it does kind of feel like a change for like they changed the wrong thing for the wrong reason, right? Like because
he needed some love. His poll needed some love for sure.
Yeah, but a harder to hit shot is faster, definitely.
Yeah, ever since they made it slower. I can't. What did they slow? They slowed it down. I can't remember the number when they
put it by shit ton.
When they put it up there. They slowed it down. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me! Like that. You might as well put it a fucking brakes on this thing like crazy. Like you. I mean,
now is there an issue where
better than fucking Neo can dodge fucking bullets? All right, it's so easy to do.
Was there an issue where you would hit somebody with a pull and it just wouldn't register? Like the Narbash dunk?
That's the other thing they need to change is client side hit registry favors the person on the other end of the chain, whereas it should favor Richter. It should favor the person throwing it. So you can get a hit marker on your screen, but if they weren't
on their side,
if their side it didn't hit, it doesn't pull them. I think things like that are good for like Belka's Void Bomb. Like sometimes it sucks when you can tell you're clearly out of it, but you get hit anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it favors Belka. Like why doesn't the chain favor the player, the caster? I don't know. That's the two things that need to be changed: the speed and the hit registry.
Does this change that? Sorry, my headset coming.
No, this doesn't change it at all.
Yeah, like as far as the prediction goes. Welcome back.
Right. So, but does the hitbox? Is this the client side hitbox is now bigger? So like now that it gets hit, like they're now going to register it. It's not going to register on their end.
No, it doesn't matter how big it is. You're still going to. It's just like with Grux's pull. Like it doesn't matter how wide it is or whatever. It's just, if the person is in it or not, it's still going to favor the person. Where if it looks like on their screen that they're not in it, they're not going to get hit. If it looks like on your screen that they are in it, they're not going to get hit because it doesn't look like that way on their screen. You know what I mean? It's just the client side prediction needs to favor the player casting the ability, not the person getting hit by the ability. I think especially for Richter.
And maybe that's their answer to it. Maybe that's their answer to it by increasing the hitbox size. Maybe in their eyes, they're like, hey, so what if we can't necessarily make the client prediction better? But if we increase the hit size, the hitbox size, right? At least on the player escaping's end, there's less error for question. Maybe now it'll be like, oh, he definitely pulled you because that's his hitbox.
Yeah.
Maybe that's their way of fixing that side.
But from a psychological perspective, I hate it that people are now going to look when I hit a Richter pull and they're like, well, of course you fucking hit it. It's 233% bigger. Like, like that pisses me off. But
I mean, I get that.
It's
the other problem with
it's
Richter's,
still a skill shot, though. To argue against what you just said there, because of the speed of it, it is so slow. It's so easy to dodge, hitbox or not. Like, that's so. It still makes it a skill shot. Now, it's just not the skill shot in the act of like you hitting, you like aiming down. Like it's just because that target. If a target's not moving, you're right. It made it so much easier. But if that target knows that you're a Richter and if you're playing against a Richter and you think that there's any chance that his pull is up, you have to be moving and ready to move, or if you're a Grim, you got to be ready to pop that fucking shield, right? To dodge that. And so it is still easy to do with how slow it goes. And I think that's where I agree with you. They missed the mark and they should have used the speed up. Maybe if this is their fix for that client side hit registration, then maybe instead of bumping up from 15 to 35, maybe bumping it to 20 or 25, but still increasing the speed a little bit as well, because that's what needs to be done with it.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I mean, the main problem with Richter right now is it's like you're playing D&D and you're rolling dice against somebody's AC if you're going to hit that hook.
Dude, you're not wrong. Roll the dice like, oh, too bad you didn't get enough.
Like you're aiming right here, that chain goes over here, and it's like, what the hell just happened?
Nope, you're right. You're not wrong.
Yeah, I definitely think this wasn't a necessary change, but maybe, like I was saying, maybe it's just their way to help get Richter to a more comfortable spot until they fix some of the underlying issues. Because it could be a Band-Aid, right? We gotta ask Pappy what he thinks about it a week from now.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see how that goes.
Let you know.
Oh no, he trusts me. He will. Now, Steel, good amount of changes here on his shield charge. His Q cast time got reduced from 0.4 seconds to 0.25 seconds, so he cast it significantly faster now. The charge speed got increased by 20% as well, so now he actually traverses at a faster rate. Wow, that's actually kind of nutty. Like you're gonna see the shield dash. It's less likely to see coming, and it'll happen faster. So it's more like a surprise ability now, right? So that's going to be interesting. Probably harder to dodge if you don't see it as coming as easy, right? And then on his force barrier, his passive, now there were changes here. So on his passive, the maximum stacks were reduced from 10 to 5. Energy armor granted per stack was increased, arguably doubled. Well, not arguably, it was doubled, right? So now it starts off at 8 energy armor in the beginning, and it scales all the way up to 16 energy armor per stack. Now, let me finish reading this before we talk about this Steel passive here. But also, instead of all stacks being removed at the end of the stack duration, only one stack is removed at a time. Stack durations last 3 seconds. So it's an interesting change. Instead of just like, hey, after you got all those stacks, they all disappear. Now they gradually go away depending on how many stacks you were able to get. Like if you were affected that much by like CC and stuff like that, right? You are now, at least for a period of time, going to have those increased stacks. I like that. I'm okay with the stacks amount being doubled. You can, the max stack amount has been cut in half to 5. I'm okay with that too, right? But the argument could still be made that Steel still has probably the worst passive in the entire game. What do you think?
I don't understand his passive at all. Not one bit do I understand his passive. So I can't comment on that in any good way. So I'll go, yeah. I think it's the worst passive. It's a passive I don't even understand. I mean, I get nothing out of this.
So let me see if I can break it down.
Get deep into his passive.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I want to talk about his shield charge, right?
Yes.
What I don't like about Steel's shield charge is the fact that he is invincible during it at every aspect, right? There's no stopping him when he's invincible. Like I get him being invincible and his shield, right? The whole point of it is his shield is blocking him, right? But if you're behind him, you should be able to stop him, right? So I think that's something that needs to, he should only be invincible. Oh,
like a one way. That makes sense. I mean, that would make sense as far as like animation goes. Like shit from him coming at the shield gets stopped, but if you're behind him and throw a CC at him, it might still stop him.
Yeah, like if my decker's behind him and he's trying to shield bash me, or shield charge me, she throws that decker bomb at him, he stopped. And
he got hit because she's on the other side of the shield. That's probably a little bit harder to code, but I don't disagree that would be a nice quality of life change overall.
But the speed and the fact that he's able to do that faster, and the cast time is faster, and the charge speed is even faster, and he's invulnerable for it, or invincible during it, that makes that ability even crazier. Like that's like one of my least favorite ability. His shield bash, I understood it, but like that one, like. The one good thing about the shield charge is the fact that it was at the speed it was. If you knew it was coming and you were at the max length, you were able to sidestep it. Like, okay, yep, I'm not going to get hit by this, But other than that, it's like, damn it, here we go. This is what's like, and now you're pretty much it. I will have to see how I can't. It was my first time seeing it. I haven't played it yet, but I'm worried that it's gonna be like almost a guaranteed. Like once he does it, once he's in the animation, there's no getting out of it.
Yeah, see, I agree with what Mike said in the chat. I feel like this is more of a band-aid of like, hey, let's make melee supports a little bit more relevant by making their abilities harder to predict or whatever, right? But I like melee supports definitely need a little bit of love as far as, like being able to stand against range ones. Like, what do you guys think about if they decided to input items that like specifically were like, hey, if you're a melee hero, it gives you this effect. If you're a range hero, it gives you that effect. Just on a little side note, how would you guys feel about that?
That'd be cool. It'd be hard to do, but it'd be cool.
Say it again. Sorry.
Like an item that gives you different effect based off of whether you're melee or ranged.
Yeah. Bring it in. Like I'm all about it. Like I'm all about item diversity and things that they started doing that with these items they brought out with 14. Like the adaptive items, and that's what it would be. It would be adaptive to either range or adaptive to either melee. You have the adaptive energy and adaptive physical power. Like it's going to give you this. It's going to give you this much energy power if you're energy, or it's going to give you this much physical power if you're physical. So I'm all about it. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, and we already like you said, they already introduced adaptive power. So maybe there's a chance to introduce skills or buffs based off of that adaptive power. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because a card can give you power, but based off of what you're building, or I mean, it could give you one effect or the other. And same thing if it's melee or range. Just an idea for down the road. But so to kind of explain the passive here to you, right? And correct me if I'm wrong here, guys. Steel's passive is whenever he gets hit by hard CC, he gains a stack of energy armor. Great example would be if he gets knocked up by Bellica, it's safe to assume that the bomb is coming next, right? He gets energy armor to prevent extra damage from that bomb. Like to help mitigate it, excuse me. So the way that they reworked it is now he can only get up to 5 stacks. Each stack gives him even more scaling armor, excuse me. Like, so I say he's level 1, right? And he gets stunned twice back to back. So he just got 16 energy armor for free. But the way that it works is that stack duration, it's lasts 3 seconds now. And then each stack falls off one by one every 3 seconds. So if he just got hit, great example, steel wombo combo. That's a good 2 to 3 piece of hard CC, right? Like a steel hitting another steel. Now he has 3 stacks that are slowly fading away 3 seconds at a time, going from 24 energy armor to 16 to 8 to 0. But every time a stack gets increased, he adds more energy armor, mitigating the extra incoming damage. So I think it's pointless still, because the majority of damage that's going to fuck you up is physical in this game.
Right.
This is a passive that literally only works against casters and supports, right? Now, our argument could be made, they're the ones that usually have the stuns, right?
Yeah, the hard CC. They're the ones that usually have the hard CC.
But I mean, it still would fit great if it was a hard CC meta. We have too many characters that don't even have CC in their kit. You feel me? I feel like he's in a spot like Severog. It's almost like his kit doesn't match fault and the speed at what the games are going. Like, I mean, what are the likeliness he's gonna? Yeah, go ahead.
You pretty much could just build instead of it kind of helps your build. You can build more physical armor, to avoid all of that what's happening, because you're gonna get those energy armor stacks when you're CC'd. Because if you're not CC'd, you're able to avoid the physical damage a little easier. right? But if you're CC'd, it's you're literally vulnerable. You're this big orange fucking shoot me cone, you know, and so it's.
But it only gives you energy too. So you're saying a steel person should build physical more,
right?
Accounting for the fact that they'll get energy.
Building energy, like what is that kind of the battle armor? Getting battle armor and mantle, right? That gives you energy and physical. You could now build battle armor and blighted, and give you more, even more physical to help when you are CC'd and that ADC is just gunning down on you because the Decker bomb CC'd you, right? But that you're not getting the energy damage done by anything else that Decker's throwing you as well. Or if a Gideon comes over and drops a rock on you, you got the energy arm, because you're stuck there to team fight. Like you literally get CC'd. You're literally just standing there, and you're the easiest target to hit. And so that energy armor will help with that. But you build physical armor will get, to help.
Oh, side note. Correction, 14 times just put in the chat, and thank you 14 times for the correction. It's not that he gains the stacks whenever he gets CC'd. Yeah, he gains a stack when he CCs somebody else.
Oh.
So every time he lands a CC, he now has that stack for 3 seconds. So if he ults you and then shield bashes you to stun you in place, like back to back, that's 2 stacks he just applied to himself of energy.
Then I agree with. If that's the case, then I completely agree with you. The fact that this is only energy armor, it really is not. It needs to be. Well, you can't really make it adaptive. Something needs to happen physical because, especially if you're using steel in the duo lane and you jump in, because all of his CC, you literally have to be in range of any ADC.
In range of anybody, even melee. If you want to do damage, you have to be in melee range.
Right, but I mean, to say if you're that close to any melee character, a shield bash, a shield charge, and all, you can literally, it's easy to stop them from hitting you. You literally have to land right on top of that ADC. Because they're able to hit you from a distance, so you have to get to them. So and they're the ones that are gonna be doing the physical armor or the physical damage, not the energy damage. So those are the ones that you really need to worry about the most, I would believe, especially if you're running support steel.
I'll be honest, especially with items like Sword of Souls out there, and it's extremely irrelevant. Now, I think it would be cool if it did give him physical and energy stacks. Like, you get me? Like, if a steel lands 2 stuns and now he has 16 physical armor added, I'm not mad at that. Especially because late game, it's not as much of a difference, right? Like, for example, let's say you're midway through the game and he's getting 12 per stack. He got 24 physical armor for 6 seconds, right? Because they fall off 1 at a time. So right. 24 physical armor for 3 seconds, and then he has 12 physical armor for the next 3 seconds. Yeah. So I don't think that would be that much impactful. In the mid game, once you're already 2-3 items deep in the carry, you get me? But it'll at least help him survive.
I don't know. I think that time might need to be adjusted a little bit. I think because 3 seconds is a good.
That's a good amount of time.
Imagine Greystone and that the disarm that he's got, that 1 second of disarm does quite a bit, so that 3 seconds of, having that armor is pretty decent. So
yeah, realistically the fight might be over before all his stats go away. Yeah.
Right. So maybe just have 3 seconds down to 2 seconds or whatever, that drops down or something. There would have to be some balancing to it.
Yeah.
But
somebody in chat brought it up. What if they kept the old values starting at 4, ending at 8, max value for physical, and then starting at 8, ending at 16 for energy? So you get double the energy armor and less physical armor, but it at least makes it valid for everybody.
I think there's a problem right now in Fault with melee supports because you want to be able to tank with them, but you're never in an economy position where you can afford the items you need at any point in the game to be an effective tank. You're always going to be behind. I think they need to lower the cost on some of the support specific armor items, not bell armor, because then you're just lowering the cost on bell armor for like Greystone or
everybody,
Chimera or
Soul
somebody,
Laners,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But stuff like that they necessarily don't usually take. Maybe lower the cost on that. I don't know how they solve it for real. It's a problem. It kind of always has been a problem. But
I can see it being an issue because then you have people like Greystone taking white items. But can you make white items that are a little higher armor, but doesn't benefit a solo laner? Like give it other things that if you're using this item. Whatever, like maybe subs, put armor on subs. Like there's no point for a solo laner to have subs, but I don't know. That's like a bad item either way. But like, is there something you can do like that?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking, what if they did unique items that are accessible based off of the crest that you started with, or based off of the item that you started with, the starter item overall, right? Like if we started off with the spellbook in mid, what if you have an option to instead buy an item or two just because you own the upgraded version? Does that make sense? Like if you own an upgraded bangle, now you have the option to buy these these extra support items that are only unlocked after you upgraded bangle.
I like the idea that Mike just put in chat. Evolving support items, as you do support tasks, it helps you obtain something. So when you CC someone, it upgrades something. Whenever, like, it would be nice
based off of assist and stuff.
Actually ping somebody, but because that wouldn't work. Because then you could just
it'd be better for dewarding. Yeah,
just throw a ward down right in the middle of the lane, and it would just be constantly revealing people.
It'd be better like if you deward somebody as a support. Like if you have a support item, dewarding gives you a stack or something. But I mean, Mike brings up a great point.
That would be great as well, though, because then it would help the new people to understand to deward.
The value of it.
Warding is a great thing. Obviously, we talked about that last episode, right? We want to do anything to encourage people to ward, right? So we're encouraging people to ward by doing these things, but then doing something like that encourage them to deward. It would be, it just kind of helps increase warding situation.
How about this? Like you gain stacks towards like a progressive quest level, but if you last hit a minion when your carry is within a certain radius,
you're gonna say it takes it away.
It takes it away.
Every time you get a kill, you lose 5 stacks. If you get an assist, you gain 5 stacks.
You get a kill while your ADC is right next to you.
A kill is fine. Sometimes you gotta get a kill.
Goose would say that.
Yeah,
Goose would say
right. He would say that.
There's never a reason why the support should be taking a minion last hit whenever their ADC is around, unless they're using Bangle.
Well, we got Bangle now. I was about to say that's
unless they're using Bangle. But sometimes you need to kill somebody before they kill your ADC. Like that situation does arise.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I'm just giving you. I was only joking because the way when you and me play together, there's a good chance that probably 3 of your kills should have been mine. But
if you would just shoot faster, I mean.
Now, Mike brings up a great point. And I guess I see both sides of the argument, but I don't agree with the fact that mages have an item that evolves passively based off of stats, skills, etc. Solo laners have that item. Mid laners, mages, solo laners, which is the sustain, the T armor, etc., and then the T bow, which is for carries and such, they also have an item. But the ones in the game that are the furthest behind in economy have to pay for their upgrade. They don't get a passive upgrade. The supports are the only ones that don't evolve automatically. You have to go in there and spend 800 gold that you just busted out your ass the last half hour getting to 3,000 gold. Like,
and it's something that you can't affect. Like if your ADC sucks and they're not getting last hits, there's not shit you can do about that. Because if you start last hitting, you're just setting them behind. You're not playing.
You're making it worse. Correctly.
Yeah. So Yeah.
Right.
Ugh. This support life, man. It's a rough one.
But I definitely feel like evolving support items, like Mike was mentioning,
That would be cool.
would just be good for everybody, quite frankly. Yeah, sure, they can tune the values and stuff, like make it a decent amount of stacks that you can get since it's passive. You feel me? Make them have to earn it with stats, especially now that they have stacking items. They have a little bit more experience with stuff like that, right? I'm sure they can find a balance, but I definitely don't think support should have to pay to upgrade their starter item.
Should they increase the gold drip for a support?
I don't think they can. I think the gold drip goes for everybody, and that's why they have those items, to help give them extra gold, to help compensate. It'd be cool to see an item that specifically gives you more gold for assists.
Yeah,
Like-
I would like to see that.
Like, you get me? Like, somebody that's trying to get kills probably won't build it. But if you but a support, or if you know, for example, you're gonna go a jungle tank, they might even build that. You get what I'm saying? Because they know they're not gonna be the damage dealers, but being able to get more gold for an assist and less gold for a kill, that would actually be kind of crazy. Like, imagine if you would have got, let's just throw a number, 300 gold for killing that hero. But because you had this item, if you killed them, 30% less gold if you got the kill, but 30% more gold if you got an assist.
Yeah, I like that. I would also like like this, like we're talking about the questing evolving support stuff, like damage taken, I think should affect that. Because that would encourage supports to actually stand in front of their carry and
To
take
peel?
the
Yeah.
shots for them.
Yeah, supports
Yeah,
definitely
I'm
need
all
more
about that.
love. It would just be how to go about it, and then how the community receives it too, because they might make a change that might be good for the long term of fault, but if they make that change at the wrong time, you know, we could go down the list of changes that didn't necessarily fit, like the fountain movement off rip whenever it changed back in the day, right? Like after 20 minutes, you get increased movement speed. Everybody's like, the fuck is this for? I don't get it. But now it's not even noticeable, quite frankly. So now it's just a normal quality thing. So it also comes down to how the community perceives it, how they adapt to it, etc. But yeah, melee supports definitely need to change. But let's speak of a melee jungler / solo, typically, at least, right? Grux. His charge, his E, dash speed increased by 67 fucking percent. My boy's gonna be zooming through there. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
Fucking stomping through that bitch.
It's not gonna be tuning.
Yeah. There, he's done. Now they increased the range by 100 units as well. And then the knock-up cast time got increased ever so slightly from 0.25 seconds to 0.20 seconds. So that's more of a little quality of life change. But it's gonna happen a lot quicker.
By the way.
Well, sorry, reduced. So it got better. Sorry. But the dash itself, like the speed and the range, that's pretty substantial. I'm actually surprised that they didn't adjust speed, range, size, whatever of his pull, but they did of his dash. I find that interesting because I thought his pull was going to get more love before his dash would.
What? So all of these things. So Greystone, his leap time is reduced, so he leaps faster. Murdock, his shield push, it's quicker. Richard Sitbox is the only one that so Steel, his shield charge is faster. Grux, his charge is faster. Why? Why are all these things getting speed love?
I think that these are all subtle changes to make it feel like the pace of the game is faster. Like, you get me? When you're in the moment and farming and you start a battle or whatever, if an animation takes a bit to go off, if it's slow, it gives you the feeling that the game pace is very slow, right? But if you're still farming the same amount of minions over time or whatever, but when you cast abilities, they happen even faster, it makes you feel like you can make more impact in a shorter amount of time. So it comes down to, hey, the laning phase is slow, but when we're fighting and duking it out and doing shit, that shit happens in an instant. Those fights are quick. You got to be on point. You got to have quick reactions, quick reflexes. So maybe it's just to overall speed up the pace of the game, the way the game feels. That's the only reason I can think for doing all these changes. Either that or jump or movement platforms are coming now. And if you step on it, you get increased movement speed and you're like a fucking Hot Wheels going down the track.
Yeah. And then there's question boxes in the air and you run over them and then you get a turtle shell.
Hell yeah. We call that the steel buff. But no, I mean, that's honestly the only thing I could think of, quite frankly. Now, let's go over some item changes that they did. I am loving what I'm about to say here. The critical strike. Oh my God, here I go again with this fucking English. This critical strike chance of adrenaline shot, Devourer's Blade, and Cloak of Fortune all got reduced from 25% to now
Jar of Hearts
20%. Excuse me, and Jar of Hearts. I'm sorry.
Titan Slayer
and Titan Slayer
Cannon.
and
Everything
Titan
that had a crit chance that was 25% all got dropped down to 20.
Which I love.
One of them.
Because there shouldn't be that many you shouldn't be able to reach 100% crit chance with only 4 items. But now, if I do 5 items, 100% crit chance, that is 100% a calculated choice. Like, I need to commit a lot, or I need to think about it closely. Like, do I want 100% crit chance? Because I'm using most of my inventory slots, not only 2/3. So I am okay with that little change, quite frankly.
So
now, yes.
This is an attempt. I don't know if it's going to fix it, but this is an attempt to stop the, 3 ADCs in one game, on one team, meta that we were just going through. It's not going to, I said, I don't think it's really going to fix it, but this is a step towards it too. This is one of those, hey, we're going to make that change. And then after we make that change, we're going to see how it happens and then go from there. This fucking headset. And then once we make that change, we go from there and then see what we got going on. But yeah, right now you're getting a Murdock off lane, or you're getting your Twin Blast Sparrow dual lane. You're getting a Murdock jungle and a Grim off lane, is what you're getting in game right now. And it's just because the crit chance meta that you have was huge, but I'm hoping this will help fix that.
Yeah, it definitely helps balance out the impact that a carry can have. Like, they can still have that impact late game, right? And still have 100% of stuff. It's just they're not going to reach 100% in only 4 items. Like, it's going to take them building another $2,000 to $3,000 item.
Yep.
To be able to actually get to that peak. So it'll definitely taper them off, but still give them the same technical ceiling possibility, right?
Yep.
So I'm 100% okay with all those crit changes. I've been asking for them for a while, quite frankly. So I'm glad that they happened. On Shiny Bangle, base heal that you receive from the effect got increased from 25 to 35. Nice little quality of life change. Maybe just trying to help out melees, because usually melee supports are the ones that have Bangle, as opposed to range ones, because they get the free poke.
Now, is this the heal that heals you and the ADC, or is this just healing you as the support?
If I'm not mistaken, it's only you as the support. Like, it's just an extra heal that happens to you when you successfully get a last hit on top of the gold value. So it's like a way of like, hey, you walked up to get the last hit. If you did get hit, you're regened a little bit. Like, you didn't fully regen.
But I thought isn't there one that also heals the ADC as well?
This Bangle does.
So that 35, the ADC's benefited from that 35 as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
You may not have noticed it, Bearded, but I have saved you a few times by last hitting it.
No, that's one reason I brought it up. I remember you and Menace both say, "Hey, I'm gonna get you some heals or whatever."
both ADC and support. We confirmed.
Okay. And that I just didn't know if this base, because when it says base heal increased, I'm like, okay, is this a benefit just for the item carrier, or is this for the the ADC as well that's alongside with that? So okay.
But yeah, overall, decent quality of life change. I guess it's just trying to make, again, melee supports be more impactful. Sword of Souls, physical power.
Time.
I can't with you, bro. Physical power, flat physical power, excuse me, got reduced from 55 to 50. And then passives, the stacks that you gain from a kill or an assist got reduced from 5 to 3. So now you can't just go kill heavy and feed Sword of Souls that much faster. Now you can feed it faster, but it won't be as substantial to it, right? Like there will come a time where it's like, hey man, you just missed 3 waves trying to get 1 kill. Wouldn't the 3 waves have been better than that 1 kill for Sword of Souls? So definitely a better quality of life change. I like that they're making it, they lowered the power a little bit. That's very negligible, right? But they're making it almost harder to gain those stacks, which I'm not against, because as a carry, it's all about late game spiking, right?
Yeah.
Or I gradually becoming the strongest character as a carry.
That
you shouldn't be too strong early.
It's still a needed nerf, and I still think it might not be enough of a needed nerf, because right now it's at 50, right? Mm-hmm. So at max stacks you get 45, so you're still gonna get 95 physical power just with this item, nothing else added on top of it. You're getting 95 physical power. There is not an item in the game that gives you more physical power when this is at max stacks. Okay, so the next closest item is 80, and I can't remember which one it is. It's Doom. It's the blade, the one that gives you the little burst of the run. You can jump forward as an ADC. That little blink one. That one gives you 80, I believe, right? So it's still a little. I mean, it still gives you a high thing. So I agree with this, bringing this down, right? And hey, let's bring it down small increments and let's fine tune that spot. The passive stacks granted per hero and per kill and assist reduced from 5 to 3. That is great, because it is going to take you longer. You could literally buy this item and get it. I, right? And I'm not that good at the game. I know you guys, you especially Windu, you can lane and farm and kill faster than I can, right? So you would be able to purchase this item faster than I can. By the time I get this item purchased and online, I was at like 16 minutes where I could get this thing like purchased, and like I'm like, well, that was before the so it's a little longer than that now, because they did prolong the
slight adjustment, right?
So it's still pretty quick. So now it's just going to take you even longer to get to that 90 power, right? But that percent, that was it now 6% or is it 4%? Whatever the percent is that you get added towards anything else that you build physical power, that also adds on top of that, is going to be even, it still makes this an item as an ADC.
It's still a must at this point.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it's still a must, I think.
And I think Geardo the vet, it just hit the nail on the head. Shout out to Geardo in the chat. So a similar comparable item in other MOBAs does not give you that many stats. Like, it's okay if it gives you that much power, but in other MOBAs, that's it. You get the power, and that's what you invested. It's the fact that you have the power with pen plus the passive on top, adding a percentage extra damage on all the power that you build. It's just too heavy stacked of an item. But if they had a stacking item that just gave me flat power, that would be a choice that I make because it could benefit for a specific build. But the way they have it right now, same thing with all these crit items that were just too heavy loaded. They have an issue that they have a pretty expansive item store, but they don't have, like if they had double the items, they could be nitpicking. Hey, these items give you this item gives you that. But with a smaller item pool, You have to have it to where, hey, this item might give you 2 or 3 things. That item gives you 2 or 3 things. We saw the same effect in other upcoming MOBAs that are trying to come out, where one of their items will give you 5 or 6 effects. They'll give you health, armor, damage, a passive. Like, you get what I'm saying? And that happens when you have a small pool of items. So that is something that'll get fixed over time. I can see them doing the changes to all these crit items, lowering them to 20%, because now look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different items.
Yep.
Now that makes sense. But before, when they only had 3 to 4, it was like, damn, if you want to reach 100, you have to build the same item twice.
Yep.
Is it just me, or is this entire patch just one giant nerf to fucking ranged? Like, if you look at all the changes, it combined, like Grux and Steel being faster, Richter having a bigger hook,
Rogue being nerfed,
changes to the white and all those other aspects, but no changes, no buffs.
Yeah, no red aspects, no red
buffs.
aspects.
Yeah, nothing physical damage got buffed.
Yeah, one big fuck you to ranged, and I love it.
There might be a mage meta coming back, low key, because they haven't been touched. But I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was kind of needed. Like, the physical damage was just a little too strong. Carries were coming online too strong. Junglers were coming online too strong, too quick. You get me? Like, it's okay if 3 to 4 items, you start clapping people. It's not okay if 2, 3 items deep, you're already deleting the entire enemy team, right?
Right.
So I'm not against it. And this is me being a carry main, right? Like, it's weird for me to say. I'm not against it because I could definitely see that physical damage in the game was a problem, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a carry main, where I was seeing the issue is I wasn't getting my normal peel for late game. You know, you normally get a Greystone off lane, or you get yourself, you know, a Grux off lane, or you get yourself a Quang off lane. Well, now I'm going with, I get a Grim off lane, and Grim isn't going to peel for me because he's building ADC as well, you know, or I'm getting a Twin Blast off lane or whatever, or I'm getting a Morgesh off lane, you know, and there's no peel with those characters. Like, so then we get late game, and it's like, well, fuck, here we go. Like, I'm being squished. Like, now I got to build tank carry because that's the only thing I got to start building items that's going to help me survive a little bit longer. And when I can't build my normal build. So yeah, I'm okay with this as an ADC main, right? But as somebody who and I'm not, if I was somebody who enjoyed, you know, taking Murdock off lane or taking Murdock jungle or taking Grim off lane or whatever, then I would see this patch as like, fuck, this patch fucked me, you know?
Mm-hmm. Which is okay because metas are going to shift, right? Like, there's going to be times that carries aren't the strongest on the map. It's just, unfortunately, right now, physical damage reigns supreme. When we had a point where mages reign supreme, like, if you were running a mage, you were just going to destroy the lobby. You literally had to get fed as a carry quick enough before their mages did, or it was game over. So, I mean, it happens, right? Balancing and whatnot. I'm just glad that changes are being made. And correct me if I'm wrong, we're just about a month since patch 14 came out. So we've already had 1 optimization patch and 2 balance patches, technically, in the time frame. Am I wrong there?
I mean, I'd still call
some bigger, some smaller.
There was still a balance in it. So, I mean, it was all balance patches. Optimization was involved.
I gotcha. So 3 patches.
It wasn't like this. We had a bunch of balance items, right? We literally had 2 aspects that were balanced, right? But that's still a balanced patch. Like, I mean, it would just.
Yeah, I gotcha. I guess to some people, it might have felt more like a hot fix than a balance patch because it was just a few items, right?
Well, then saying it was a 15 gigabyte download and you had no balances, and it's like, well, the 15 gigabyte download was for the change to the UE
for the Unreal Engine, yeah.
The Unreal Engine, like, don't confuse the 15 gigabyte download for anything else but that. Like,
yeah, that's just ignorant people complaining, though.
Information.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's ignorant people trying to paint an agenda by throwing out shady facts. That's all it is.
Yep.
But there were a few changes to minions.
I don't understand this. Get the fuck out of here.
I love this.
Why?
Because it makes lane management more effective. And
so this has already happened before. Management. Yes. And this has already happened before. And before, I hated it. I'm kind of glad that it's not as big of a change now. It still hurts, right? Like it's more substantial. But before it went from like, hey, range minions now hit you twice as far. Like it went from 750 to 1500, whatever the number was. Like, God damn, son, you making these range minions fuck me up. I can't even, I used to box like nobody's business as a carry. Now, as soon as I touch them, I'm like, hey man, there's too many fucking minions here. Let me chill the fuck out. Like I'm not even gonna hit them with one auto. Quarter of my life, because they're gonna be gone before I look.
Yep.
So I'm okay with it, right? As carry mains, we hate it because we're the only ones that do the majority of our poking with a physical damage, with a basic attack, right? Everybody else in the game does the majority of their poking with an ability. So it kind of sucks for carries. For the rest of the actual match, though, it's actually a very, very healthy thing, right? So melee minion damage got increased. Now it starts at 12, ends at 80. So they increased the beginning amount and they increased the later amount. Range minion damage increased. Now it starts at 22.5 and it scales all the way up to 120. Again, increasing the beginning amount and the late game amount as well. Siege minions starting damage got increased from 33.5 to 39.5. Subtle, not too crazy. And damage increased per 90 seconds, which is something that they already had. Like every 90 seconds, they increase in damage. But now that scaling went from 1.275, very unique number, by the way, to 1.5. So their scaling got adjusted a little bit. Siege minions got tweaked a bit. I definitely feel like the bulk of the change was those range minions. We saw melee minions change a little bit. That's not too bad, right? But on range minions late game, we saw almost a 20% increase to their damage. That's fucking crazy. Now, as far as everything, it's like Goose was saying, this is mainly so you can counter the range offlane meta that's going on and stuff like that, right? So I can see them doing things like this. Mike in the chat just said, about me. Yeah, he said, I can't wait to see bronze players fighting in minion waves and just dying. It's definitely going to lead to that, specifically if they don't kill those range ones.
I hate going, as an ADC main, I'll go in, right? I'll play up, I'll queue up, and I'll have a random support. And my support is like just going ham, trying to get into this team fight. And I'm looking at it like, they got 30 minions, we got 2. Like, I want nothing to do with this right now. Like we need to like thin their minion wave down before we do anything else. And then I get yelled at because I'm not being aggressive. Like, no, like I'm gonna die. Like, you don't understand.
Nice, it's easy. Tell your support, hey man, land a basic and then I got you.
If I had voice comms, I could easily do that.
Type it.
We had this conversation earlier in this partner panel. I'm not jumping on the type unless I have to.
This makes hard dives a lot scarier too, because oftentimes you see somebody dive under a tower and get away with like just a smidgen of health. That's not going to happen no more because the minion's going to take that smidgen of health.
Yo, those range shots follow you a good amount too.
They do.
Like you think you're out, you think you're in the clear. You made it to your tower. You're like, I'm chilling, standing still, backing. You see that one shot floating towards you. Because I feel like that shit comes at you in slow motion too, right? Like you see it coming towards you, you're like, ah! Dead.
Do you think that there should be, if you're able to get far enough away, that should die off?
Yeah.
Like a tower, so to speak. Like if you're out of range.
Melee. Yeah.
It doesn't though. It literally will follow you.
Yeah, that shit will follow you all the way back to your.
You could just keep running
as long as it targeted you. Yeah.
Yeah, as long as it targeted, they shot and it was shot at you. It's a homing missile. It will find you and you are done.
They may as well have hockey masks on, fucking Jason Voorhees bullets coming at you. They don't stop.
100%, bro.
Coming. I like the melee range, siege, and super minion movement speed have all been reduced. I think it would be hilarious if the siege minions were reduced and no one else.
So the siege ones are just slow as shit, but that would cause a stacking problem.
Like huffing and puffing, trying to, guys, wait up. I just think it's funny that they listen. Why did you say all minions?
Yeah. Now, I find it funny that they mention reduced because they start off lower. but now late game they all move faster. So it's more of a tweak, right? Like a balance.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was reduced. They'd be like, yeah, but late game they move faster, so it's not a full reduction, right? But for the majority of the early to mid game, they are going to move slower. And to cover the other three parts here for the minions to conclude here, melee minion health increased per 90 seconds. That was reduced to from 33.8 to 23 flat.
Yeah.
So now as time goes on, your melee minions scale in health slower and less. As well as range minions, their scaling of health increased, per 90 second increase went from 7.56 to a flat 6. And siege minions, their health increased per 90 seconds went from 82 to 62. So overall, all minion waves also don't scale as aggressively with health. And I definitely think that's a healthy change, because I think we all noticed at some point, since it did go based off of average level in the lobby, at some point where you're like, hey, I just cleared a minion wave, no problem. Rotated, came back, shoot a minion. It's like, I can't one-shot this bitch anymore. It takes me 2 to 3 shots. Holy shit. Right. I left this man for like maybe 3 minutes. I came back. This is a swole minion. I need to farm up a bit again.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty healthy one.
This rewards people that pay attention to the lanes, and it's going to hurt people that don't. Like, if you just let a wave crash into your tower now, it's going to be a lot easier to clean that minion wave up before it gets to your tower. But if you let it crash into your tower, they're going to be doing a lot more damage.
Do some damage, yeah.
And they're going to take that tower out a lot faster. So you got to pay a little more attention to the map.
There are going to be some winions for sure.
Yep.
But yeah,
I like it.
I'm not mad at this patch. Quite frankly, I'm not mad at
this patch.
I like this patch. I'm not. I agree with Mangoose. I'm not like. I don't think it. I think they missed their mark with Richter, but I'm glad that he got some love.
Yeah. At least he got some love, right?
Yeah.
I like 99.9% of this patch.
Yeah, 99.9. Oh, poor Richter. But yeah,
Increasing
honestly,
every 90 seconds.
Yes. But I'll be real. Like, when I see patches like this, it gives me confidence in Strange Matters, just quite frankly, right? I still think there's ways to go to where the game will at least be in an optimal state of balance, right? Because it'll never be truly balanced. That's something that people, if you don't understand it, get it through your thick skull, right? Like in a MOBA, there will never be true balance. There will always be things that are stronger. There will always be things that are weaker. That's why there's a meta. The meta shift as time goes on, balance changes happen, etc. But there's always going to be a yin and a yang in order for shit to be balanced, if that shit makes sense, right? Confucius says. So it's just one of those things that I just like the fact that I'm seeing these changes out of them, while simultaneously it's like, hey, we understand we want this aspect to do this, so let's just make it good at that. Let's stop trying to be like, oh, well, maybe we should make it even with this one across the board. Like, some aspects are going to be really good at one thing, but they might not provide you something else, right? Same thing goes for these items. And like, I like the fact that they're doing all these changes, like reducing the crit damage. They notice a physical damage problem, so they're basically like, hey, we're reducing the opportunities that physical damage characters have, like with Rogue and all these crit chances and stuff. Try to balance it out, but that doesn't mean we stop them from being strong, right?
Right.
I'm A-okay with this. I would love to see more of these in general, just like I think this is a good size patch. Not too big, not too small. If we got patches like this periodically, like even once a month, I'd be happy. TBH.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, definitely. No, these are the good patches. These are the ones that like, hey, we're getting, as a healthy bug fix too. Like, like with a lot of the amount of bugs that we got with it. So that was huge. But, then a healthy balance. We knew that Rogue was an issue. Rogue got taken care of. We know we got looked at, right?
Yes.
I don't know for sure if it's got taken care of. We got to play the game first to see what's taken care of, right? Sword of Souls got looked at. Got to play the game, and a lot the areas that we knew that need to get looked at were taken care of. The crit strike, that was taken, looked at. And a bunch of the areas that we knew that could be the issues were definitely looked at here, and that's a big A+ for me.
Yeah, very big. So I'll be real with you. Let's pretty much wrap it up, because believe it or not, we just spent almost 2 hours only talking about the patch notes.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad at it, quite frankly. These were good patch notes. Again, shout out to Strange Matters. These were actually decent, 233% debatable, but actually decent, right? So let's do this. Let's say our final pieces from you to the community, starting with Goose. What do you got to say to people, bro?
I'm just glad that the persistence of Kaylee, was that Kaylee 19 got rewarded. That's cool. That's badass.
Yes, that was pretty sweet.
Yes.
Amps is a badass.
I thought I was getting trolled. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw in the chat whenever yo, can you get me the game? I was like, oh,
but
that's a direct ask. I'm not mad at it. I was like, I'm not mad. You got to try, right? You got to try.
Right. All right. Yeah, that's all I got. Yes, I really, like I said, I really like the patch, and I'm eager to get in there and try it out.
For sure. It's kind of weird that they dropped the patch again right before the Pioneer panel, bro. It's like, I didn't even get to try it.
At least it was before.
Yeah,
True.
This wasn't the big patch that we were trying to play though. Like 14, we were literally trying to play it. So
10 minutes before we go live.
Feel about it, and it literally goes, we go live, and all of a sudden patch drops. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
You imagine if behind the scenes are like, yo, we got till 8:30. We can't let these bitches go live and let them say that the patch is not out, and we went live at 8:30. So that literally they go live, push, send it. So they're like, I can't fucking complain. The patch came out before they did. Oh, that's like Hideo saying in the chat. They know the schedule now. They know what their deadline is to actually release something. Rip.
There you go. That's what it is. No, I mean, with these patches, I'm happy. And the thing about this is they got almost all these data points from us gaming and enjoying the game, right? We play the game, we find the issues, we play the issue. We are literally paid testers, right? We paid to play the game, and here we are, right? So now that this patch is out, let's get out there. Let's get some games in. Let's find the next Sword of Souls that's the issue. Let's find the next Rogue that's the issue. Let's find these other bugs that are issues and get them reported to the dev team, because you see patches like this, they want to get this game to where we really enjoy it. So the more we report it, the more we see things, the more clips we're able to give them, the faster and better they're able to get it to us the way we want it.
Yeah, man. And I'll be real. My 2 seconds here before we end is I'm just going to piggyback off of what you said. Don't let up. Some people are probably don't have that finesse of getting a message across, right? Or that they're not tactile enough as far as hey, this is what I think what you guys should change and stuff. But some people are just fucking Thors. It's hammer type bullshit. It's hey, okay, I get it. But I'll be honest, everybody's opinion still counts. It doesn't matter if you're a toxic player. It doesn't matter if you're a new player. Quite frankly, everybody's opinion counts, right? So the last thing that this community needs is for people to be silent. If anything, be very, very vocal about your opinions. All your opinions are heard by somebody at some point. Partners stay in the Discord channels and on social medias and stuff like that constantly. Moderators as well, their development team as well. Believe it or not, even though a lot of people feel like they report and that shit gets ignored, there's a good chance that if you report it, if you wrote it, somebody has seen it. It's just one of those things that when enough people report it, that's when it's hey, this is really an issue. Let's make this a priority to adjust. You get what I'm saying? As for example, Rogue.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So it's one of those things that Don't give up. Don't let up. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Part of the reason why this partner panel started was lighting a fire under SMS and holding them accountable for everything at the same time.
Right.
But doing it in a professional manner while simultaneously communicating the feelings of the community. So these episodes are both for the developers as much as they are for the community. So we appreciate everybody that tuned in. If you made it this far, if you're wherever you're watching it, social media, YouTube, throw a GG down below. You want to say something, Bearded? I see
yes.
You like half raised the hand. It's like
the whole end thing.
Yeah.
So I know that right now the only way to report a bug or to give a clip or whatever, if you have a clip, I will open up my Discord. You know, if you're watching Gen Chat, especially my Discord, and you can join the Discord and then just at me in my Discord and send me the clip. It's a little easier for us partners to be able to report these with clips, report the bugs that you were able to see than it is to go through ButlerBot or anything else in that situation. So just to make it so we can avoid ButlerBot, because I hate it myself, and come talk to me about it, show me the bug you got, and if I literally think that it's an actual bug, I will forward it on to the mods and the devs themselves as well. So I will open up my Discord for that. Hit me up, let me know what's going on, and we will get going and we'll streamline it so we can help get this game in a better spot.
Like Minutes just said in the chat, good shit. Much love, homie. But that's a great point. And honestly, let's just add on to that. Wherever they're watching this, right? Whether it's on a social media that somebody posted, whatever it may be, if they have a clip to share it. Let us know. You feel me? Tag us in it, whatever it may be. Like getting or bringing up awareness to the situation. There's nothing wrong with that as long as it's done properly, right? It's not like, hey, share a bug and then flame the shit out of a company in the same post, right? Like, hey, this is a bug I ran into. They really got to check this out. Or they should check that out, whatever. I hope this is fixed by the next patch, whatever it may be, right? Constructive criticism, but it's okay to point it out. And quite frankly, as far as Strange Matter is concerned, hey, good and bad publicity is still publicity, right?
Right.
Like if there's a funny bug, at least fault is being talked about. You get me?
As an ADC main, I know like one side of the map. I know that there's a spot that clips over here. But I don't know what's going on in solo lane. I don't know, like if there's a clipping spot over there. So if somebody's, if you play solo a lot, that you can, send me those clips. Hey, and then a spot of like, oh, that's great. A little more information for him to be able to, smooth out the map a little bit for us. I know he would love to be able to do that.
True. The more details, the better. And people don't realize that a clip, if you can, there's a lot of programs out there, like even in NVIDIA has like features where it'll record the last 10 minutes always or stuff like that. If you can provide just footage of what happened, it helps resolve that issue like a million times faster.
Yep.
Instead of just sitting there and be like, I wonder what this person means by Gideon's teleport didn't work. So much love. Again, don't let up. Keep at it. Eventually, us as a community, along with these devs, can help make this game better. Right?
For sure.
Like a spot that we're all comfortable in. It's not going to be for everybody always. That's fine. But this is a community-driven game, and everybody should speak out. But much love, homies. We appreciate you being here, chilling, and till the next one. Peace.
Peace.